way you can like go right into what you were saying
Yeah,
before.
like right now, because we're straight. Welcome. This is the session 0 of our Friday night game. It'll be a short series. Could go a little longer afterwards, depending on how well we like it. But this is Candela Obscura, which is a game created by Darrington Press, the folks who are behind Critical Role. Are the ones who made that company and this game, and it's probably popular and well known because of that. But that's not important. I genuinely like the game. It's very interesting to me, narratively and also mechanically, which is kind of what I'm looking at more so on my side. But that said, we have. I don't think we've ever really kind of just gone through everybody. I think Foxen, you kind of got shoved in the middle of the Dungeons and Dragons shenanigans. Joseph, obviously, your first go around with this specific crew, and yeah, we'll have a fifth party member here who's just running a little bit late due to real life shenanigans. But yeah, if you want to just volunteer a bit about yourself, your name, pronouns, the like, feel free. And if you want, I'll start. I'm Jonathan. He, him. Well, not really ever him. I'll never be him. But
I am him.
Foxen is him. See, I can't be him. But yeah, I've been running games, mostly Dungeons and Dragons, for the better part of my life. Yeah, I just really enjoy playing games with people who are very interested and invested in creating great and memorable stories. Yeah, whoever wants to go next.
I can
Nobody.
Go. I can go. I'm Elizabeth. She, her. What are we talking about again?
Just, a bit about yourself and background, like just so.
I am sewing artist online because I do both of those things. I am an artist and a full-time seamstress. Part-time artist, full-time seamstress. Thought it was gonna be the opposite, but whatever. um, yeah, I've been playing tabletops since like 17. I was 17, 32 now, so a couple of years. Yep.
Okay.
I'm Tyler. I go by
Hi,
Foxen on
Tyler.
everything.
Hi, Tyler.
I'll be really honest with you. I didn't know your real name. I just,
Oh,
you
He
you
said
told
it
me.
before.
I've
I
never
said the
heard
first
it.
time we
And,
talked.
and honestly,
Yeah.
I think
He
at that
forgot.
point maybe he did say it, and I was like, "Do you
geez.
want to go by that or Foxen?"
Yeah,
And
that's
he said
exactly it.
Foxen, and I was just like,
by Foxen.
That's fair.
"Foxen it is."
Foxen it is forever.
That's fair.
Redacted.
Just redact the.
Just redacted.
Sorry.
But yeah, I've been just doing tabletop for what, a year, John?
Yeah.
When did I join?
You've been around.
I started with Zijo's
Yep.
D&D game. So.
Yeah. I want to say it was the same time as. Were you in Chad's Chad's side Dungeons and Dragons, like the West Marches game, or no? That wasn't you.
No.
Okay.
It was, well,
Jonah.
John's there.
That did a thing.
Yep.
How did that do a thing? Oh, he exited and entered. Okay.
Regardless, I'm new-ish,
Yes.
kinda, sorta.
Welcome.
I can understand the rules. I can do stuff. I can do cool things, but I kind of.
How do you
Newish.
We love newbies.
Okay. And Jonah, in case you weren't paying attention,
And John knows it more than anybody. I'm kind of a little bit of a furry. he knows he can get me in that crap.
Yes, this game will have none of that. I will unfortunately not be able to sell you on that kind of stuff. But yeah, Jonah, if you weren't paying attention, we're just doing a quick introduction of everybody so we all know one another.
No, I was here for that.
Okay, I didn't know if you were paying attention or not. Okay.
I'm always listening and
So,
watching.
Joseph or Jonah, whichever.
always watching? I'm Joseph.
I think John understood me.
Joseph.
He's like, anything.
Joseph's going. Hold on.
I'm Joseph. Pronouns are they them, and I guess originally played like D&D in high school and college, and then of course took a break for some years, and then started back again on the Sunday crew with John, and then yeah, so changing things up, just switch days. So yeah.
And
Awesome.
similarly, I'm like of a mind to kind of change stuff up, which is why we're playing this game and not D&D anymore. I kind of want to just change it up. And Jonah, our apparently most motivated about this Game Boy. Tell us about yourself, Jonah, and how you've already built a character and nobody else has.
Hi, I'm Jonah. I go by he, him, and I have many names, but Jonah is the most important. Um, and I created a character before everyone else because it's cool. Um, I've been playing D&D for a while. I forgot how long. It's been at least more than 5 years, I'm pretty sure. Uh, yeah.
Yeah, you've been with us
I'm disappointed. With that background, you didn't say praise the sun.
Oh shit.
praise the
Praise the
There you
sun.
go.
But you've been with us at least for a couple of years, 3 or so. I think 2021 is
Yeah.
when you came in for the Friday crew, and been kind of locked in here ever since.
Actually just looked at the messages on Roll20
Yeah,
like yesterday and I was just like, oh,
that's a long time ago.
poor Avram.
So, this game, Candela Obscura, takes
actually read
place
those.
in a setting that is very similar to kind of the East Coast during the turn of the century, very steampunk, but at the same time, it is very much kind of focused on eldritch horror and that kind of narrative play. I like that it takes a lot of influence on things that have happened in real life and then kind of uses those as like a foundation for its mechanism. And so that's very interesting to me as well. But yeah, the mechanics and for how the game is played, we kind of already have covered with the tutorial video that we watched that they showed us, and some other stuff therein. But yeah, in character creation, um, you are going to choose one of 5 roles. Now, technically, you could have multiple characters be the same role, but I'm of a mind that if we're going to kind of, get a good idea for the system, I'd like to see everybody kind of play a separate role. And so the options that are on the table are face, muscle, scholar, slink, and weird. Now, Jonah, the guy who's already built his character,
The weirdo.
the weirdo,
I see
exactly,
that background change.
is selecting
Mr.
weird
Occult Man over there.
and occultist as their specialty, as the character specialty. Now, I just want to be sure, and again, Kat's not here to fight, so I suppose, unfortunately, she's going to kind of be stuck with whatever is left. But I think, Foxen, you're familiar enough with Kat that you'd be able to kind of decide, like, if something's a little outside of her wheelhouse, maybe not that, and select another, try and force
I
something.
can
Well, John already stole hers.
I can always
Savage.
change if we want to do something else. I mean,
No,
if
she's really good at doing whatever she does.
Okay. So then, that being said, if Weird is off the table, if nobody is wanting to fight Jonah for Weird, that's fine. I'm okay with that. But if you do want to fight for it, I'm more than happy to, like Jerry
Pistol
Springer,
whipped on.
hand you like a chair or some other implement to utilize against Jonah, and that would be fun to watch for me, I think. In actuality.
Let's go, Jonah. Outside.
Since that's not the case, Jonah, you're the
I
weird.
just have a sticky bomb.
got you locked in.
Cat's the occultist.
We've got you locked in. And then, does anybody have one or another character that they want to try? Like another role that they want to play?
I was
Oh,
looking
yeah.
at Doctor, but
Doctor?
The Scholar.
You already know my preference.
Scholar, Doctor is what Joseph stated as their preference. And then, Foxen, what were you leaning towards? Slink?
Link, yeah.
Yeah, I'm good at this. Elizabeth, is there one that you're kind of looking at as more kind of your cup of tea here?
I definitely looked at them all, but then I forgot them.
Sure, that'll happen. But
Yeah.
for a quick note, like the
I
best,
was trying to find. Oh, here they are. They're roles. Okay.
yeah, the best way to kind of determine like which role might be best for you is each one has a desire, like a goal that they're kind of moving towards.
Yeah.
So the face is seeking mastery of other people. The muscle is seeking to master the body. The
Mm.
scholar is seeking to master the mind. The slink is seeking to master the unknown. And the weird is seeking to master the arcane.
Yeah. I think I was originally looking at the doctor as well, or I think it was. Ooh.
Whoa.
Echo, 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 echo,
Oh.
Who is
echo.
that going?
I opened the stream.
That
I'm
was
sorry.
perfect.
It's like going and going and going.
Oh no. Um,
There's nobody here.
I think it was the journalist.
Journalist.
That's face, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that would be face. Okay, cool. So keeping that in mind, and then so let's focus here. If that were the case, if we kind of lie it there, Cat would get the muscle, which would mean either an explorer or a soldier, and that's fine. Um, but let's focus in. Is everyone okay with Joseph taking the scholar role and specialty doctor? Or does anyone want to fight them for it?
That's okay.
Well, you're out. You
You're
don't
locked
even
in,
matter.
bud. Your vote
You
doesn't
can't
count.
have
You're
more
off
than
the
one
island.
role, Jonah. That's not how this works. All of them. So that doesn't sound like much of a fight. So then, Joseph locking in scholar as doctor as your specialty. Okay, and then the next person who kind of stated slink, which is kind of either criminal or detective. Is anyone like I guess just Elizabeth? You are set on face. Is that fair? Fair to say, or does that work for you?
Yeah, my other was doctor,
Okay, well,
and since Joseph wants it,
that makes sense.
I'll just yeah.
So then, perfect. And then for Slink, Foxen, which of the two specialties were you thinking?
Probably criminal, but
Yeah, you would.
I gotta read them a little bit more. Hey, hey,
Fair enough.
I
Okay.
like to steal stuff. Leave me alone.
Criminal activities.
Okay, great. So then that
I'm
means,
gonna be the detective this time. Don't worry about it.
ultimately, that means that Cat will be playing the muscle. So
That's what worries me, but explorer, I guess.
yeah, it could work. Um,
The
the next bit is we move into building. Sorry, I am new. I am definitely learning as we go along, and I have notes, but I'm
That you've played this 1,000 times, John.
no incorrect. Um,
Hasn't even read the book.
I have not read the whole book because I have it on Roll20 and it's kind of poorly laid out.
I got the PDF off the website.
I should have gone off of a website, Jonah. You're gonna say that online. You're gonna say that you got it off of Drive Through RPG, right? Is the site that
Yeah.
you got off of? Cool, very
Yeah.
cool, very cool that you got it.
He said the website, capital T, capital
Yeah.
W.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. That is stellar. So on character creation. When crafting a character, it is crucial to avoid the harmful stereotypes often present in historical and horror genres. For instance, if you are creating an explorer, they should delve into their own cultural history instead of appropriating another's. Similarly, mediums should not use other cultures' attire as a costume, and doctors should not indulge in any historical practices that are rooted in racist and ableist ideologies.
Oh, we
Although
just
the
talked
boy.
about this at work.
PCs may be ill-disposed or tactless or even cruel, you should always strive to construct your protagonists with a level of integrity. So keep that in mind as we continue the process. The next bit we kind of deal with is connections, gear and marks. Is that right? Am I wrong?
So gear happens like in the beginning of the assignment. We
Right.
choose what we want.
And that's
Hmm.
actually, I thought you can actually just bring it up during the assignment. Like, you don't need to do it right at the beginning.
I'm not 100%
Yeah, I'm
sure. I
pretty
mean,
sure. I
maybe.
think gear is just a thing that you kind of draw up. So keeping that in mind, your character has a list, or your role has kind of a list of gear that's kind of associated with them, which will be, I think, listed in your sheet once you've added your role or role and specialty.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Is that right?
yeah. It's all there.
Yeah,
You
you're
can
you're
click.
you're right. It says for each assignment, choose gear from the available list the moment it's needed.
Correct.
Yeah, we can choose up to 3.
Correct. So
Yeah.
3 per assignment. So while you're on the job, you don't. You're not like checking your
Damn, I
bag.
didn't bring my
Exactly.
thing. Aha!
You
I
will
had
be
more time.
deemed to have been prepared. Um, that's a
So
very
we can just say we're gonna use something, and then it'll just
Poof, that's your
like
slot.
happen.
it's not that it just happens. So, okay, so we're forming a narrative here. We're creating a story, okay?
Hmm.
Some games, Cyberpunk, Dungeons and Dragons, etc., focus on the minutia. So it's very important we know what gear we have on us and have it listed so that basically you can be caught out without it. And narratively, that can be satisfying. That could definitely be a very interesting aspect. But for this game specifically, that comes to a point when you've already utilized gear to the third degree. After you've used your third piece, that's when you're, I don't have the right tool for the job situation.
Hmm.
So it's more interesting in that you're prepared and it seems like you're more of a professional, kind of on the scene, ready to go. When you compare it to like situations where you may not have the right spell, item, what have you, in a D&D game or whatever. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, great. What do we put? Oh my gosh, why is my brain not working? Character creation.
I think is it circle next or is it catalyst?
I found my notes.
Oh,
It took aeons. So to introduce you to the setting in particular, um, the setting takes place in a region known as the Fairlands, um, one of 12 regions within the country of Hale. It's incredibly diverse in its geographic range, as you can see kind of in the map image before you. On the eastern side of this valley loom the treacherous Bridleborn Mountains, at the base of which lies the vibrant forest known as the Scarlet Wood, from which illicit hallucinogenic substances known as scarlet is harvested. To the west, past the wastes of Westrek and the unforgiving Haven Hills, stand the jagged cliffs of the Verge, where standing stones from the ancient Farron people look over the glass sea. The mighty Stentorian River leads to the verdant fields of Totergrass in the south, while the mysterious village of Seasway sits in the shadow of the burgeoning coastal metropolis of New Fair in the north. Um, yeah, the world has grappled with the effects of a fierce cold snap known as the Shiver for over a decade. So it's very cold, very kind of northeasterny. While many northern countries face shorter growing seasons and incredible food shortages, the relatively temperate oceanic climate of the Fairlands continues to provide for Halen citizens. So, kind of in the Totergrass area, it's still farmable. Because of its rich resources, the people of the region have dealt with near constant invasions for as long as the land has been settled. This current period of peace will likely not last long. The peace that you currently have was hard won through the implementation of electricity during the last Great War. Filled with technology that resembles our own at the turn of the 20th century, um, the new fair stands upon the ruins of its ancient alchemical predecessors known as Old Fair. This place embodies the perpetual integration of the ancient and the innovative that occurs within such cities as Edinburgh, Lima, New York, Paris, Istanbul, kind of at that same timing. In New Fair, citizens are nestled with historical brutalist architecture and the recent evolution from Art Nouveau into Art Deco. The stylistic war that drives fashion and architecture pales only to the political war happening between the triumvirate, the regional government, and its citizens. The triumvirate comprises three institutions: the primacy, the ascendancy, and the periphery, which align with citizens who uphold strict moralistic values. Meanwhile, technological advancement forces modern thinkers to examine the effects of mechanization on the community as they adapt to a post-war world. So that kind of gives you an idea of New Fair and its kind of environs and the setting around you. So connections, as I was mentioning, are the bonds you establish between the characters at the table during character creation. Now, assign relationships between investigators, ask questions about their shared goals, and interweave characters' backstories to foster more engaging gameplay. This is the quick start notes. It states that these will already basically be listed for you, but we're going to try and kind of move into forming our own because we are cool and I kind of want the full experience anyway. So, in the full book, sorry, bear with me here. I've got a few things I'm running through. We want to establish the culture of our table. So we're going to discuss safety tools. Sure, everyone has time to speak. No one's talking over anybody else. We want to encourage players to build on each other's ideas and foster an atmosphere of collaborative storytelling. That's our goal. We want to make the coolest story we, as a collective of 6 people, can make. So I guess then, are there any like subject matter? Is there any subject matter that you would consider off limits? For me, like child harm, like most things that have to do with like essay or any kind of stuff like that. No thanks. I'm out. I'm not a fan. This game already has kind of pre-baked into the story we're going to tell body horror, which I'm okay with, but we can definitely kind of tone down if someone is not a fan of that kind of material. Is there anything? Oh, we've got. Okay, she's here. Hold on. Why did nobody tell me? Oh, why is this wrong?
You just got here.
Oh,
Ah!
Oh, you said don't talk over you, so I
Wow.
didn't.
It's okay. It's okay.
Hi. Sorry.
No, it's fine. Hold on a second while I try it.
It's fine. This is fine.
This is fine.
Everything's fine.
Everything's fine. We're just doing great here. We're just living. We're just living our lives.
Just vibing.
So, Kat, you get to be either a soldier or an explorer.
Those are your choices. Unless you
All
want to
right.
fight anybody else here for any
Unless
other
you
role,
want to fight somebody for another
Yeah.
role.
it will have to be a fight.
Duels at dawn.
Like fist fight? Like I think I could win that.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm going for. Is like an
Okay.
actual physical fight. Wait a
Okay,
minute.
sweet. Tyler, what are you exactly? I'm just kidding. I'll be an explorer.
I'll take that from you.
Yeah,
There you
Oh,
go.
that's
Get me
I
out
know
of my
where he
comfort
lives.
zone. Get me out of my comfort zone.
I'll go fight him for it.
That is funny.
So she'll be back in 40 minutes. Shows up right here.
Yeah, shows up right over his shoulder, walks him. All right.
So bear with me.
So
here.
how we doing this?
You just came
I'm sorry. You can have it.
Well, you just came into the situation. We're talking about the table culture. We want to kind of establish like borders. We want to establish, like an understanding of what everybody feels safe discussing. The game has pre-baked into it body horror. There's also kind of some discussion of drug use and possibly the effects of that. Based on what I have pre-read, I can't think of anything else that would be kind of something that someone would assign as like a taboo. But is there anything? My specific ones are like essay of any kind, not a fan, and like harming children would probably be the ones that I'm not 100% on, unless like it's a kid who really deserves it. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Unless it's Jonah.
But Jonah's not a kid. He's a grown-up, sort of.
I'm an adult
Sort
man.
of.
Oh, grown-ass man.
Man.
Grown-ass man.
Oh, go ahead.
But yeah, is there anything anybody wants to put forward as something that they would not be, as I continue to try and get this looking right? Is there anything anybody wants to kind of put on the table as not something you'd want to deal with?
Touched on the two things that I'm not a big fan of, so I'm cool with that.
Man.
Anybody else? Okay, I know everybody's going to be in the wrong squares, but I'm going to fix that.
I believe
While
you.
you continue talking for
You can
just
do it.
a second. Okay, so after everyone has selected their character and it establishes their character sheet, I want to make sure everyone has got your character sheets and those are open. Everybody see those? I think one is missing.
Yeah.
Tom is not a real person anymore. It is.
Wow.
I was about to say, I don't.
Good.
Okay, am I Tom? Okay.
Yeah, now it is correct. But yeah, you should be good on that. So at the very bottom of that page, you should see something that says add role. Do you see that okay? Okay. So what you'll do is you'll go ahead and add your designated role. So Kat, you weren't here, but you were kind of bottlenecked into muscle. And muscle has two specialties, either explorer or soldier. And also, as we discussed too, regarding the
Unless you want to trade, I'm willing.
yeah,
You can have the detective.
or criminal.
I'll let you. That's okay. I'll be an explorer. It's fine.
She thought about it.
I did think about it. I thought real hard about it.
That's funny. Let's see. Jonah goes in the top corner.
Could also be a journalist or magician.
Yeah.
I'd trade.
Again, just making sure. Are you comfortable with muscle, or is it like
The cards.
Well, I had kind of just jumped into this, so I'm not 100% sure what all
Sure.
that entails, but
Yeah,
I
we're gonna go
will.
through that here.
I'm about to say it's fine. Since I came in late, I will take whatever scraps I'm given.
More
It's
than
fine.
fair. So character creation, and Jonah, you've gone through this before, so if you want to jump in, I am still kind of reviewing a couple of other things at the same time in my session 0 notes.
I got you.
But the starting point for you, Jonah, was what?
So, obviously you choose your role, and then your specialty. There's two for each class. And then the second step is allocating your initial action points.
Correct.
Your once you actually select the role and the specialty on the character sheet in Roll20, it'll allocate, the roles, I guess, yeah, initial points, and they'll put it where it needs to go. In the core handout, for mine, since I chose occultist, it gave me control 1, read 1, focus 1, and then sense 2. For slink detective, it gives you control 1, hide 1, survey 2, and focus 1 automatically. And then you have to choose one action with a 0 rating and raise it to 1. So any of your actions that don't have that little blue bubble, you can, add
A blue bubble.
one blue bubble. Yeah.
Yeah, and then just so we understand too, again, the game mechanic, the core mechanic is really important. Some folks might be aware of it. Do me a favor, Jonah, since your character is ready to go ahead and pick one specific action and go ahead and just roll it for me, will you? I also want to see how it displays in the Roll20 because I have yet to click a button.
Guinea pig.
There we go. So you can see that Jonah has rolled a focus roll. Jonah has 2 blue pips in focus. Okay? And so what we're looking for is a 6 for a success, a 4 or 5 for a partial success, and then I believe it's 3 and 2 are no good bad times.
Yeah.
But 1 is really bad. Oh, it's the worst. And so basically, a success is going to happen regardless. A partial success is going to be, you know, you do it, but it comes at
You
a bit of
say that.
you do it, but at a bit of a cost, right? Like if you're jumping across, a cliff to kind of reach the other side, instead of landing on the other side perfectly, it might be a situation where you kind of land, and then as you kind of move forward, the cliff breaks away and falls away, making it harder for the next people to try and do it, or something like that. Um,
I can't. I gotta interrupt. I can't wait for Jonah to try to jump across something and then roll 3 ones.
well, it'll probably happen. But yeah, there's also
Happened before.
the gilded dice.
It'll happen.
That is something I personally am going to want to read up on as well. Gilded actions. Um, your character starts with a gilded die in one action, determined by their specialty. So, whichever specialty you choose is going to determine which action for you is gilded. And based on that roll, it looks like focus is your gilded action. Is that right, Jonah?
Yeah.
So you can see that the dice has kind of like a gold bar around it. It's represented by a filled-in diamond to the left of the action on your character sheet. So yeah, and then gilded action. You can, sorry, is represented by the filled-in diamond to the left of the action on your character sheet. Then gild an additional action of your choice. You can choose any other action you want to gild as well. Remember, this will help you earn back drive during the game, so it is best to gild an action within a drive where you have points to spend so that you earn them back quickly. So you want to kind of gild the actions that are you're going to use, and that's the kind of gold triangles right at the top. Oh no, that's resistance. My brain's dumb.
Yeah, resistance is like if you fail,
It's
you can reroll.
it's the blue diamond to the left.
Yeah, the blue
Yeah.
diamond is the guild.
Yep, and if it's not filled in, then it's not gilded. So
Yeah.
journalist gets survey. Kat, are you leaning more explorer or soldier?
I think I will do.
If you need more time,
Honestly, I think I'll do soldier. Now that I think about it, let me
Okay.
change that.
So
Change my mind.
soldier special is strike. That's the one that will be gilded initially. Doctor is read, because it's fundamental. For detective, did you go detective, Fox, or did you really go criminal?
One criminal.
You of course did.
Hide.
Hide is
It's
criminal.
not. It's not about reading books, though. It is definitely about reading people.
Yes.
But okay.
It is about interpreting body language, spotting lies, gathering motive. It's also, I would say, read would also probably be beneficial for like spot.
I should go detective. Katie, we could be Holmes and Sherlock.
Hold on.
Alright.
Spot diagnoses.
Watson.
It would probably be something that I think would be read-esque. And then occultist, you obviously know, is focus. Any questions regarding gilding? Okay.
I don't think so.
Yeah,
All right,
basically,
now.
when you use
So
the
it's just
gilded
an
action,
extra.
you'll recover drive, and drive is how you kind of operate. But yeah, great. So, does anybody have any questions on how to fill out the sheet from this point? I know I probably have confused some people.
The only ones that I'm confused on are the top one, circle style catalyst in question.
Sure.
But I know that we
Circle-
also haven't gotten there quite yet.
Circle is something we as a group will create.
Yeah.
It's basically the team. So the team is going to be a circle.
It's our unit.
Right.
Yeah. And we decide that together.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then what were the other ones up there?
Style, which I'm guessing is just a free for all.
Yeah,
that's
probably.
that's how your character like
Looks.
dresses and stuff.
Yeah. Okay. And then catalyst is like why they're there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why they're in the society, and I don't remember what the question was.
The question that they're trying to answer, like.
Okay.
Based on like.
Based on the catalyst.
Yeah. So I think we'll just go ahead and use Jonah as our continual example because he built a character and we like making him talk.
Now we're gonna bully him.
What's your catalyst and your question?
So with Nicholas Dark, I chose, or his catalyst was he saw something he couldn't explain when he was a kid, and he needed to know what the hell that was. So through like just hearsay, eavesdropping, and just trying to learn more about the occult, he found that he had an acuity for the unknown, I guess, or the mystical.
Very cool. And so, yeah, it's kind of your own situation there. And I think there's a section in the I want to say there's a section in Am I crazy? I am crazy. There's unfortunately nothing of note in the because again they assume you're having a pre-generated character, and unfortunately the roll 20 is not as neat as I was hoping for.
It's animated though.
It's anime.
The
Sure.
little there's a little
No, the
spinny wheel.
sheet's great. I mean the lore is here. It's just I am again I'm coming from a different angle, so I'm looking for things, but I think I'm looking for things incorrectly. So
Like for
One
like the
blue dot.
rules.
yeah,
One
I'm
blue
trying.
dot to something that's zero.
Yeah, you're
That
just gonna
doesn't
add
have a
one
blue
blue
dot.
dot to something that's zero at this point. That's basically all we're looking for. Once you have your role and your specialty selected, everything should be filled in pretty well, and then you're gonna choose one non-blue dotted thing and add a blue dot to it. And they kind of give you a measure of how the different actions work. Um, so yeah, just keep that in mind.
I do enjoy that there are like little descriptors for each um action that
Yeah,
we have.
yeah, very simple kind of breakdown on stuff. And of course, our mentality is like you can do everything because you're a Dungeons and Dragons superhero. But that's not really the case in real life. And I think that these kind of metrics kind of show that, you know, there's going to be some things you're not going to be able to get away with or do. The soldier is probably going to be really good at punching, kicking, all the Dungeons and Dragons stuff that we love and enjoy. But again, like move doesn't mean that if you don't take points and move, you can't move. It's more going to mean like if you want to engage in like a specific scenario and move quickly or navigate an area well, that's going to require you to use the move action. And yeah, I'm going to basically call for that if it comes up. And I think you can make actions even though maybe my brain's dumb here. You can make actions even if you don't have. No, I'm.
Yeah,
My
you
brain.
can.
No, you can.
Yeah.
You can roll actions if you
If
don't
you
have
roll-
points in them.
Right.
You just
It'll
roll
just
one.
be one
The
d
lowest. You
or
roll
two.
two, and then you get the lowest number.
That's it.
Yeah.
So yeah, Joseph, to answer your question in the chat, you're just gonna add one blue dot to one action you do not already have points in. There should be no blue pips. The one you're adding to one to is just going to be something that you're not already given for your role plus specialty.
And how do I accomplish this feat?
So you'll
That's
go.
awesome.
Great.
The
Let's-
edit
Took me a
doesn't
second
do-
to figure
edit
it
is
out too.
not
I was like,
Cyberpunk.
what
The
on
edit
earth
button
am I
does nothing.
doing?
Like I clicked it and it's like, here, have some information. I'm like, great,
It's-
that's not what I wanted to do.
Not at all what I was asking you.
It's
to do.
at the bottom of the sheet where you see roll. There's a little cog wheel. No, I lied.
No,
That's
it
not
didn't
right.
let me do it
No,
there.
it's up at the
Click
top.
character.
It's at the top.
Yeah, manage character.
There we go.
Haha, thank you. Okay.
I lied. I'm sorry.
How fucking dare you, Jonah? It's like you did this already earlier in the week without us.
I
that-
did it yesterday. Okay.
From that
That's
cogwheel,
earlier in the week.
And without us.
it does show abilities for your role and specialty.
Mhm.
Like are any of those supposed to be marked?
You're talking about the ones at the bottom.
So if you click on the cogwheel in the bottom section, it pulls up where you select your role and specialty.
Yeah.
So
So sweet talk, sorry, I'm looking at a different role. Let me switch real quick.
But yeah, like there's like the three roles, like three abilities for the role, and then mine
Oh,
has
Yeah, you
That's-
go ahead
for
and-
specialty. Like
So
right, like-
you're choosing one. one of
Okay.
those role abilities and one of those specialty
Specialty abilities.
abilities.
Okay.
Yeah, but that's later on in the character
Oh, okay.
creation. Yeah,
Well, since
So
it's
don't do
already
that right now.
well, since we're
I mean,
already
yeah,
there,
might as
you
well.
can go ahead and do it. I'm okay
Oh,
with that.
okay.
If you want to
Yeah.
go back and change it due to like stimuli or information you get later on in this process,
Yeah.
that's fine too. But yeah, you'll just choose one of those.
You choose, yeah, one from each category or one from each thingy. If you don't know what to choose, the book recommends that you just choose the top one.
Yeah, the top
If you
one
don't,
for each.
you know,
So for doctor, looking at it, for scholar doctor, yeah, meticulous notes and dissection would be the two that you'd go if you want to just baseline it. But the other ones are kind of cool. I kind of like occult researcher a little better.
Yeah, I was looking at that. I was like, that's kind of cool.
And then I do like dissection. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I definitely feel like dissection is useful.
Yeah,
And
because that would
it also, yeah, it means that you can do it without harming yourself as well. Which,
Ritual is ritual and forbidden ritual.
well, of course you did.
Hmm.
That makes sense. Not a bad choice. And then, does anybody have any questions about theirs while I'm kind of in the option to switch stuff out?
Guys, I got lost. I
Where
was still
are
in the
you?
pip.
No, it's okay. So if
Oh.
you go down to the bottom, right, and you'll see that it says roll, and for you it'll say
Base
base.
journalist. Yeah.
To the right of that, you'll see there's a cog. Do you see the cog in the top?
Yeah.
Yeah. Click that.
That's how I added.
Yep. And then you'll choose one role ability,
Oh.
and you'll choose one
okay.
specialty ability, and you see how
Okay,
they have the
okay.
little slider.
Yeah. I'm on board now. I just didn't know like
Where it
what
was.
category you guys were talking about because I
Hmm.
was like from each category. That doesn't sound right.
Yeah, it'll be role and specialty.
I was like, I get a pip for each one, but this
Oh,
one's already full.
So many pips.
I know, that's why I was confused.
And I don't know if there should be any that are full. I don't think.
Not in
Well,
the
I mean, there's at
beginning.
least so
Oh,
I
you mean the
had
blue one.
survey, focus, and sense
Yeah.
all had at least one pip,
Gotcha.
but like nerve doesn't have any.
Right.
So
I also find it funny that my gilded one is read, but it's in a not in the category that it says is most important for for my.
yeah,
I'm like, well, that's fun. Okay.
mine's the same.
Game is good. Okay, so does anybody have any questions about your actions and the action points? Does anybody have any questions about the role and specialty abilities and how to select them? Or about the ones that you're choosing at current?
I actually have a question about
Yeah.
when rolling. So how do I know what? Oh, okay, it's at the bottom. I'm stupid. Never mind.
Well, you know what? Just because you have figured it out, I want you to ask the question and then answer the question for everyone else. So that
Yes,
they
please.
know.
That way we don't have to look dumb when we're thinking the same thing.
Exactly.
You're right. You're right. I'm sorry.
It's something that
So,
confounded you, and you're the guy who built the character sheet already. I just want to make sure everyone knows what you were conundruming.
so when you roll, your like any ability, especially an ability that is, pipped up and gilded,
Yep.
at the bottom of the sheet, or underneath the die roll, it'll say additional dice, extra gilding, use drive from, and then underneath that is available drives. So for occultist, I get nerve, cunning, and intuition. Intuition is my best one, so I have 4 drives available.
Yep.
So I think
At
when
the-
I hit,
Well, at the
Huh.
top, do you see where it says nerve, and then to the right of it, it says no drives for.
Yeah.
It may be different for you. Or for cunning, it'll have the plus and minus and a little blue slot in there, and then the
Mhm.
other one will have 2 blue little slots in the plus and minus. If you
Yeah.
click on the, those are the, like, you can negate those or add those as you're kind of using them. Those are your drives. So if you were to
Okay.
say, for example, the character I've got open, Budgewigeg, which is the random generated name that they threw on it. If I were to roll a focus,
Budgewigeg.
if I were to roll a focus check, right, it's just going to be the 1 pip, right? And I can add 1 drive if I wanted to, which would increase it by 1 dice. Drive will increase
Mhm.
your dice by that many. And so once you've done it, it should expel that. Like, for example, here, let me just check my. Yep. So it automatically does it. So I just rolled focus, of which I have a 1 pip.
Mhm.
So that's 1 dice, right? But in the pop up that came up when I clicked to roll it, I chose to add 1 drive, and I have a total of 2 drive for this random character I'm messing around with. It has 2 drives, so now it's showing 1 drive as grayed and 1 drive as still blue. And so those drives are basically extra dice, and the gilded dice are what refresh drive. And does it automatically refresh drive, Jonah, or no?
It doesn't refresh it, but it takes it out.
Okay, so cool. Got it. I understand what you're saying.
Ooh.
And
Yeah.
so
On the gilded question,
yeah.
so we added the pip to something that didn't have one.
Mhm.
We're adding a gilded thing somewhere as well. Um, does that need to, sorry, my alarm came on. Does that need to be in something that doesn't have anything, or does it
Yeah.
matter?
Yeah, so you should have one that's automatically
Right.
gilded. And to notate
Mhm.
it as gilded, it's that filled in diamond symbol next to the action name. Now,
Yes.
I don't know how to fill in the pip, but you need to fill in 1 more pip as your gilded. But I think that one's floating. Like, I don't think it's like an automatic. And let me just double check my notes here, because again, it's.
But we're adding a pip, but not a gilded, right?
So, right, correct. You're adding 1 pip
Oh, just kidding.
for
Sorry.
sure.
Never
I
mind.
ask that question and he told me I
Yeah.
was wrong. So it
Oh,
was
okay.
like, wait.
Well, I was reading it
changed.
and I was like, I was confused. I
No,
read
no,
your
no.
question.
So yeah, I think we do add a gilded to be sure, but I'm just double checking to make sure it's one that you don't have to settle on. Does that make sense? Like it's a bit more
Free
fluid
floating.
than that free one that you get for your role and specialty. So I'm just double checking my notes. When you're rolling with a gilded action, you replace 1 of your standard dice with a gilded dice, d6 of a different color. If after you make the roll you choose the result of the gilded die, you can refresh a point in the drive that encompasses that action. So, for example, Joseph rolled a perfect roll, okay, for what that would be, because they would then use the 6, because that's the best result. You only choose 1 die for your result. You're not adding stuff together. And then they would also, because they chose the gilded dice as the one they're using, refresh. Now, Jonah rolled a gilded dice. 5 is the one that he wants, because it's a partial success. 3 is not. But if he was willing to suck at this specific action to refresh his drive for future use, he could take the 3 and then auto fail, but get the drive,
Get the
get
drive.
the benefit
Okay.
of that.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Right.
So Joseph, you were right. You do add another pip, or not pip, guild
Correct.
to
Cool.
anything.
Any
So
one
we
that
just
you want. But I just want to double make sure. Like it's one that you're going to select. It's going to be there. But I think there's a mechanism for moving it in game. It's not like hard locked to that. That make sense?
I think so.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
yeah, maybe.
I
Yeah,
think
I like that.
I think it'll start making sense once we actually start playing.
Yeah.
For sure.
So to go back to the pips, after you choose your 1, you can choose 3 more.
What?
Yeah, you can add 3 more pips to something, but you can't get an ability above 2 pips.
Right. So you can add those 3 to ones that already have ones, or you can add them to ones you don't have ones on, but you cannot raise a 2 to a 3. You can raise a 1 to a 2.
So we
So-
added a pip. Now we add 3
3
more.
more.
Yes.
Yes.
4 total pips.
Well,
The first pip had to go to one that didn't have anything, right?
Right.
that's right.
Right.
Gotcha.
And then the
Okay, and now
3
the other ones
are going to
cannot
whatever.
exceed 2.
Correct.
Okay. That's so confusing.
Well, it makes sense. So like
I
that,
mean, it does, but it's also confusing.
fair.
Yeah.
It can be both.
It can be both.
It's
I
true.
understand what you're saying, Elizabeth.
It's true.
I'm glad you do.
Yes, but also no. No, but also
Ah!
yes.
Well,
So how do I add the gilded? So resistance click
Um,
box?
Bear
I
with me
think
here.
so.
I think it's character info.
Up at the top, character info.
Same place you add the pips, except yes, I think it's that little
Yeah, yeah.
toggle
Check
off
box
and
Yeah.
on.
toggle.
And you can put your gilded anywhere. Once everyone's done with that, I'm gonna hit you with another doozy.
Add 3 more pips.
How do I wait?
We're all level 7.
Well, go ahead
John
and-
will never win.
Real quick, so they have a precursor as to what, because their choices now might affect their choices, because I think I know what you're going to say. Go ahead and tell them the next step.
So, the next step for creating characters is determining your drives. So the drives, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, are those little rectangles above your or next to your actions. So next to intuition, cunning, and nerve are those rectangles
Little
that
blue
have a
rectangles
plus
at
and a
the top.
minus. Yeah.
Yep.
So
Those are
with
preset
that,
by your roll, aren't they?
yes, 3 of them are.
Oh, right. You get 1 more.
You get 6.
6 more.
Yeah. You can distribute 6 additional points and drives however you'd
Oh,
like.
here we go.
yeah, when
Sorry.
you
Yeah.
said that one had like 4, and I was like, hold on, wait, what? I don't even have 4 total.
No,
Yeah,
I
me
have-
neither.
I got
I'm
you.
sorry.
So each drive has a number of points between 0 and 9. It'll build up over time. You're right. So each action has a rating of 0 to 3. My brain got locked in the other metric here. So
Okay.
right, it is 6 more points.
hmm
In
So-
drive.
In drive, and that's
Yeah.
total. That totals what, 9? Because I guess that 3 is the baseline, so you have 9 total.
Well,
Well,
the
you can
baseline
put it.
is 0, 1, and 2. So you're increasing either all 1 by 6. So the most you would have is 8, or
8,
you're
okay.
increasing like the one you have no points in currently by maybe a couple points. So
Yeah, I mean that was my plan, but I just wanted to know
maybe
like how
round it out a
many
bit.
I needed to add, because I do have like 3 total, like
But-
1 in nerve, 0 in cunning, and
I'm-
2 in intuition that I haven't done anything with. They're just there.
I'm assuming
So-
soldier is 2 in drive or 2 drive to start in nerve. Is that right?
No, mine only has 1.
Oh, weird.
Yeah,
Okay.
I thought so too.
Yeah.
You'll notice that if you get up to 3 drives in one of those actions, you get a resistance.
Mhm.
So with every 3 points you put in, one of your actions, you get 1 resistance. And resistance is basically just a free reroll.
Correct.
Okay. Yeah, somehow I ended up with intuition. I don't not nerve. That
It's
was weird.
okay. Mine was
That didn't
in
seem to make-
cunning.
It makes sense to me.
Yeah, mine was in cunning.
But we're adding 6 of those, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that
Wherever.
is
And to make
you
sure
just click the drive button. Okay, never mind.
make sure we understand, like narratively, when you spend a drive on nerve, you're kind of physically exerting yourself to kind of push yourself beyond that capacity. When
Yeah.
you're doing so with cunning, you're kind of like, focusing harder, relying on like, interacting with others, you're paying attention to the situation more deeply. But resistances are similar in their effect. They have a narrative kind of thing that happens when you burn specific resistances. It will kind of alter the roll for certain, but it will also kind of like play into like how you're doing it. Like for nerve resistance, you're kind of pushing back against a physical, instead of it just being like I succeed. It's kind of like you're struggling past it. You're kind of pushing yourself through it. So narratively, resistances are kind of the measure for how you kind of struggle through something. So much to say, rather than just it being kind of like I did it instead of not doing it. You did fail, but you did succeed because of the reroll, or maybe you pushed hard and you failed again with the reroll. Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
Just like a cram session at school.
For cunning,
Stayed up all night to study.
for
Still
cunning,
failed the test
They got
anyway.
fucked up.
100% cunning. A cunning resistance would be like you're sitting there and you stayed up all night and you're fighting everything to just kind of answer the right questions
Yep.
or answer the questions correctly.
Ah. Okay, that was a mistake.
Okay.
Wow.
So everybody's filling
was-
in their.
So,
drawings.
So I was like, let me go look at Magician again. So I switched over to Magician. And then switched
Oh, yeah,
back.
it
And now my
resets.
points are all everywhere, and I don't know what was supposed to be.
Yep.
It should reset your entire
It
sheet.
resets it to the original number.
Yep. So if you
Yes.
are
Because
checking
I got
this,
like one in everything except for Sway now. I'm like,
Oh.
wait. I'm pretty sure I had a lot of zeros before.
wait. So you reset it and it gave you more.
I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 pips now.
Why are you breaking
Oh,
the game?
Jesus.
I didn't do it.
Oxen. Okay.
I'm good at everything except for swaying people.
So you're
Master of nothing.
you're on criminal now?
I did not have that problem. That's interesting.
So just go back to your pips and whatnot.
yeah.
And for criminal, just add or just have control 1, hide 2, survey and focus 1.
Hold up.
Hide 2, survey, focus, and what was the other one?
Control.
Survey, focus, control at 1.
And then from there, just repeat the steps.
Yep. And if you
We
want,
did.
It was hide to what now?
hide 2, control, focus, and
Survey.
survey 1.
And
Yeah,
then
so I don't know where I got extra points from. Like, what just happened? Why do I have like 9
Well,
things
okay,
now?
You do have some points, so you got the 1 that you're gonna put.
I
in.
know, but it's just like we're just gonna go. We're just gonna give them to you. Just put them wherever we want.
I mean, technically, I think you're supposed to have 10, right? Like my math's good there, or no? Is my math
2,
off?
3, 4. So
11.
start
I
5.
have
You
10.
start with 5. You get 1 plus 3, so 9.
Oh, 1 plus 3, 9.
Right.
Yeah, I'm bad at
Two.
math. 9 would be accurate. You said you had 9, but yeah, it's just all over the place wrong.
Unless you start with more pips, I don't know. Maybe
Yeah.
maybe because you're a doctor, you're smarter than me.
Let's say
No, should be 9.
Hmm.
2 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1. That's 5. Plus 3 is 8. 8 plus 1 more.
Plus
It's
one.
No,
nine.
it's 9. It's 9.
1 plus 2
Okay,
plus 2
I'm
plus
bad at
1.
math. This is canonical.
It's
I
not.
remember this in previous episodes.
okay. Well, then I have done something wrong because I have more than that.
How many
when
do
it
you
comes
have?
to
Oh, jeez.
because I think I had the 11 you were talking about because I had several already on here whenever I did this. Like there
Let
were
me-
2.
Let
Two.
me,
I have 9.
let me check something here. I'm going to go ahead and be a soldier.
Yeah. Because now tell me where it was. Because I picked Adrenaline Rush and Sharpshooter because they were just the first ones.
You
So I had 2 in
Adrenaline
Move, 2 in
Rush,
Strike,
and
and 1 in
Sharpshooter.
Control.
Yeah.
And then I think I
one-
had.
You
Yeah.
put 1 in one that doesn't have a pip, and then 3 anywhere you want. Except you can't get one of your 2 stats to 3.
Very interesting. I just saw a similar circumstance happen with my side of it. Yeah, it just added a bunch.
It doesn't
to
reset.
It doesn't reset.
Damn.
So very
Poopy
interesting.
doopy.
I'll have to.
Okay. It's supposed to reset.
It should reset, but it didn't. I wonder if there's an option to.
Yeah, that's what I was looking for. I was like, is there an option to just reset back to default?
There is not, and that's fine.
I was about to say, John, delete me.
And Kat, I know you missed the blurb on the history of New Fair. I will see if I can't find it again, and then I'll copy pasta it in our Discord. But basically, long story short, you're a soldier. It's more than likely the case that you, if you're of an age, probably fought in the most recent war. So
The war.
the war.
And which are we like? Real time most recent war or
No.
lore
So-
most recent war? I'm like, is this like
Obscura takes place.
Afghanistan.
Like Afghanistan or like Vietnam or
No.
like like
So
where are we
it's a-
at in the timeline
It's a
here?
fictional world. The most
Okay.
recent world. I mean, it's very similar to kind of the turn of the century, but the war in question. What do they call that? Thinking war. Oh,
Great.
so currently we're in the world's in the midst of a cold snap known as the Shiver. It's been lasting for a decade. The region that you're in is relatively cool or temperate comparatively, which means that a lot of people want this place to kind of get their resources. The last Great War was known as the Last Great War.
That's really confusing because the Great War is actually World War One.
Yeah, but this game
This
is
is
a different world.
No, I
The
know.
last Great War.
I know, but this is supposed to be like 1907.
Yeah,
So I'm confused.
but again, it's not. Don't think of it as a parallel universe because it's not. It's very different.
No, I know.
Yeah,
But also,
at the same time.
but at the same time, it bothers me on the inside.
Well, they took some creative liberties. It's fine. We're okay with it. We're dealing
It's cool.
with it.
They just kept the Art Nouveau and Art Deco theme and then Great War, but it's too early for that.
Fair enough.
I have a problem. I'm
Well,
sorry.
maybe they want it more like 1910s, 1920s. Who knows? Point is we're not concerned about the real world because that place sucks. We're trying to escape that with this. That's my goal. Because drugs are
Magic!
expensive.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, cool. And then regarding the Candela Obscura, which is the organization or secret society that you folks are investigators of.
We're going too far ahead.
Oh, I'm just reading lore.
Okay. Sorry.
We're
They
not
do
getting-
cover that later.
Oh, do they?
Yeah, it's like step 7 or 8.
In the
Can
creating
you
your circle
repeat
bit.
what I was supposed to do with drives? So there's about 9? Still?
So,
What?
9 total.
9
Yes.
total.
Oh, yeah.
Very cool.
and you should have 2 in one, 1 in another, and 0 in a third. And then you'll
Yeah.
increase those.
But you're just adding 6.
Yeah, 1 for 1
Mhm.
into any of those that you want. And I believe once it gets past 3, instead of giving you another
That was
drive,
not how mine was, but mine had 3 in 1. But
Oh,
I did add the
Oh.
correct number after
That's
that.
weird.
But
Okay.
Okay.
It may be
So
the
add
case that you chose.
doctors are weird.
I think there
Yeah, I
are
don't know.
parts that say like one of the abilities gives you +1 drive in a specific location.
Well, I only had 3 total, just like everyone else. It was just that they were all in 1.
Oh, weird.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I'm cool
No,
with how
it
they are
was-
now with doing that, but that was
It was
weird.
the same thing for
Occultist.
Occultist. Yeah.
Okay.
We had 3 in intuition.
Gotcha.
That's the 3 I had.
Okay. And then you spent your 6. We're good on that. Is everybody solid there or no?
hmm
Foxen, did you add the extra gilded die?
Not yet.
Okay. So you start with 1 and then you add an additional.
And then did we determine we were supposed to have 9 pips total?
Yeah.
Yes. 9
Yes.
pips dots
I just took some
3,
off
4,
of
5,
something.
6, 7, 8, 9.
in action. And then
9 of those, 9 of these. Got there. All right.
1 plus 2
And-
plus 2 plus 1.
This is the
Yeah.
worst sleep I've ever made.
All right. So once we do all that, the resistances, the drives, the guild actions, we already did step 6, which was choose your role ability and your specialty ability.
Yep.
Kat, did you already do that?
Yeah, I just did what you said, where I like picked the first one on both of them
All right, nice.
because I thought I was behind.
I mean, if you like John said, he's okay with like if you decide that something like stands out more, then you can use that.
Okay, cool.
So we're gonna go to step 7.
does it say step 7?
It actually does. It says step 7.
It's so weird that I can't search that in the Roll20 version. I need to buy the PDF.
The PDF, baby. So with step 7, technically you're supposed to do it at step 7, but we all did it beforehand, so that's okay. now you're adding your character details. So Catalyst would be something that briefly describes why your character joined Candela Obscura, what happened to make them devote their life to the cause.
And so
This, oh,
I'm going to start blathering on about the Candela Obscura so we understand it a bit more, so you can
mhm.
understand why you would be joining it. So Candela Obscura is a secret society of investigators whose primary aim is the survival of mankind against the supernatural forces that are kind of invading or present. Your involvement with the organization begins with mysterious tales set in the Fairlands. However, this secret society predates even the city of Old Fair. So New Fair is the city that you're in. Old Fair is the city that it's built on top of. This society has been around a long time. So the origins of Candela Obscura. The Tome of Lumos is considered the definitive record of the activity of Candela Obscura around the world, going back to the organization's beginnings, before the existence of cities such as Old Fair. This text exists in a vast series of volumes, and it is the sacred charge of the conservator of the Fourth Pharaohs to record the organization's affairs during their tenure. Within these enigmatic pages, it is written that the Candela Obscura originated from a guild of hearth stewards called Light Keepers. In the time before electricity, which again we got during the last Great War, um, during the reign of flame, people began congregating around enclaves of knowledge that advanced the very scaffolding of civilizations, the early days of architecture, politics, and technology. As these civilizations gained power, it was natural for people to attempt to store the details of their discoveries in writing, first in stone and then with increasing ease on hides, fabric, and paper. The makings of the world were transcribed and read under the glow of campfires, candles, and eventually hearths. The structures that stored this knowledge, libraries that came to be known in the Fairlands as Athenums, were built to facilitate the study of scholarly texts or to conduct secluded meetings in dimly lit rooms as society slept. Rulers employed light keepers, stoic defenders of knowledge, and keepers of the fire to ensure the flame did not devour the precious writings contained in these libraries, Athenums. Due to their complete access to the scrolls, tomes, and other artifacts contained within these unique collections, Lightkeepers accumulated vast knowledge. Additionally, they mastered a near perfect method of memorization that allowed them to recall writing or eavesdrop and disseminate the whispers of society's elites. It was only natural that the great rulers of the world would come to collect and harness magic in their quest to hoard and utilize knowledge and power. When they succumbed to the temptation to use this magic for their own selfish purposes, Candela Obscura was born. So the framework of the Candela Obscura is evidence of its roots as a diverse and global secret society. Candela Obscura is composed of chapters across the world, each reflecting the culture and values of its circle members, dedicated to guarding against the dangers of magic and other worldly forces that threaten humanity. The Radiant Order loosely governs and coordinates activities across chapters. This administrative body seeks to maintain global awareness of Candela Obscura's operations by facilitating communication and sharing resources between chapters. Only in times of global existential crisis does Candela Obscura convene an appointed group of light keepers, known as the Conclave of Luminosity, to make important decisions for the organization as a whole. Bearing the scars of secrecy and mistrust, Candela Obscura typically abhors any attempts to implement centralized control over its chapters. Both a blessing and a curse, the history of the organization is riddled with complexities surrounding its decentralized approach to protecting the world from great evils. So, you are a circle that is a part of a chapter. And I'm not going to read the whole block about the Radiant Order, the Light Keepers, and the chapter houses. But the main thing to note here is that you, within the Fairlands, before Old Fair fell, upon the first signs of this civilization's destruction, Candela Obscura established a covert chapter in Old Fair. They settled their chapter houses around locations of high magical incursion, and this was the beginning of the Candela Obscura within the Fairlands. Almost all written records from Old Fair were buried with the city, but it is clear that in the centuries that followed, this chapter of Candela Obscura slowly expanded in size and influence. The values of the Candela Obscura, they're protectors of the people. Your goal is to protect people from the incursions and the horrors of magic. With their wealth and supernatural knowledge passed down through the generations, they focus their work on collecting and studying magical phenomenon. Um, yeah. Um, there are a few notable figures which we'll kind of cover when we get into the more role playing bits. There's the Esoteric Order of New Sciences, which is a separate kind of segment outside of. There are other kind of chapters. The Office of Unexplained Phenomenon, the Pyre, the Red Hand, and the Unabridged, which again we'll discuss more as it comes to it. But basically, long story short, you were inducted into a secret society, be it through another member or through your searching and being kind of granted access to it. And you did so for a purpose. There was a reason why that's the case, or something that happened to you that caused them to take note of you and induct you. And so that's what we're discussing with this. And Jonah, you were discussing the catalyst and the question, which I believe are the two bits that are kind of leading into that access.
Yes. So, you guys would choose, what, um, what happened, in your life or what happened in your character's life to be like, you know what, I need to be a part of this, um, this organization, or like, this, agency to keep the world safe. And then your character's question would be like, what do they want, um, for their service, basically. It's like, what do they want to know? What do they need to do as a personal goal within the Candela Obscura?
Any
It's like,
questions regarding that and narratively kind of like the freedom that's kind of being exhibited upon you? Like, there's obviously, you know, a lot that your brain is like, what though? What can I choose? Like, there's a lot that's not kind of present there. I'm of the mind that I don't care. Like, if you want to, kind of free form it, totally cool. It's actually to a point where I was like, oh yeah, I want to give you some examples. I went into the pre-generated. They don't have a catalyst. They don't have a question. So these are things that are not mechanically like cognizant or necessary, I guess. Um,
They have one under step 7.
they have an
I
example.
found Yeah, I found the steps. So if you go to rules,
Yeah.
making a character, then it outlines the steps in order.
Oh my god.
And then under add character details, it has the descriptions of the catalyst question, style, name, pronouns. But for
I figured it out.
an example, yeah,
Well,
for
no.
the example,
On my side, I'm also pulling from the quick start guide, which I don't know if that's sharing on your guys' side in the compendium. I'll take a screen cap of it later, but yeah, it's a hot mess. I
yeah,
don't
I
know
was
how
just
to.
pulling from the compendium.
Yeah, the compendium's only showing for you guys the
Mm-hmm.
Candela Obscura. I don't think it's going to be showing the quick start guide.
Okay.
But we're on step 7.
Yeah.
So, great. It does in fact give an example. For example, Caitlin is playing a doctor with a high action rating and strike. She may have honed this skill through years stuck in one bad situation after another. She knows how to throw and take a punch. Or she may use this skill to force her way out of bad situations. She can break down a door. These are kind of like narrative bits about
Yeah.
those skills or those actions and your drives and the like. Um, yeah.
It doesn't actually have a one
Example
for
for
the
the catalyst
catalyst,
or question.
sorry.
No worries. But
But it
yeah,
does describe it
Lied to
pretty
me.
well. I'm
it's okay.
sorry.
Briefly describe why your character, join Candela Obscura? What happened to make them devote their life to this cause? Jonah has described his catalyst in question, which looks like he is currently acquiring beverage. But do you have?
I joined for Dr. Pepper. They don't have it in this universe. I must find where it came
I
from.
must pass
The
through
most
the veil
Texas
The
so that I can
veil. The
find.
veil.
That really did look like he reached through a veil. That was wicked.
Yeah, I know.
Well, yeah, 'cause as you may notice, I am in the void.
Yeah,
Um,
as am I. We are void buddies.
Oh no! Like I don't have a body. Like
No,
Yeah.
that's true. You are a floating head and hands.
I am, yeah. And I want to get the green screen gloves so I don't have hands either. But one
I'm
day,
a William Morris wallpaper.
You need to get some like white gloves so you're like, aha.
again, I'll explain it. I don't know if anybody's actually heard me explain it. The gimmick is very stupid, and nobody under the age of like 38 would understand it. There was an old VHS cassette that came with a game called Dragonfire. And it was basically D&D for people who don't play Dungeons and Dragons, and it was like one of those VHS board games that you'd play. And so the Dragon Master that was a part of that was just a floating head in a void, and all
Oh
the
my
characters
God.
weren't shown. It was just this dude's face in a black void, just mugging and like being the most just over the top, honestly cool guy that I have ever seen do the DMing gimmick. So when I was streaming before, there was just my, my office, and then I was like, I need to change that. I don't like it, and so this is what happened.
I used to play a horror game like that.
Magic.
Yeah, I was like, I need to get rid of my body. How do I get rid of my body? And I found a green screen shirt. I was like, yeah, hell yeah.
I thought, wait, no, that's just the void. Stop bringing the wall.
Stop ruining the immersion.
Okay, sorry. I could pop
You
the
should be.
I could pop the
Nope.
so that you just see me in green screen
Nope.
shirt.
Don't pop the hood.
No!
Hilarious.
No
So-
Wizard of Oz shit going on here. I don't need to see behind the curtain.
Jonah, you have your catalyst.
But there's
and your
kitties
question.
behind the curtain.
Yes.
That's fair to say. Okay, so then just one more time so we have it, because I know we did it before, but now that we have more of an understanding of what it is. And Elizabeth, thank you for finding that, by the way. The word making a character was what I needed, because when you type in character creation,
Yeah,
hot
it
mess.
doesn't exist.
It's a hot
Yeah.
mess.
I was
Hot
just
mess.
scrolling through all of the rules because I was like, it has to
It
exist.
does. It's the book. Well, yeah, I bought the book with
They do it.
everybody's
Yeah.
money.
It's just where is it? It's just because
Money.
everything's in alphabetical order.
Yeah. I mean, so we got the Cthulhu and quite a bit of Cthulhu accessories.
Oh my god, they even have step
Yeah.
down in the essence. It's just step one.
I typed-
Answer circle questions. Step
Yeah.
one. Choose a.
A
That's
mess.
goofy.
But your question and your catalyst. One more time, Jonah, so we get a
So with Nicholas Dark's catalyst, for him, he saw something he couldn't explain when he was a kid, basically, and he wanted to know more about it. So through eavesdropping, hearsay, trying to read as much as he can, he found he had like a gift for sight beyond the veil. And for him, he just kept working at it, and eventually, after like a while, he finally found himself in the Candela Obscura.
Very cool.
And then for his question, or questions, I should say, he wanted to know where they come from. Where was the first phenomena to happen, and how far can he go with gaining this knowledge?
Perfect. So similarly, it's a bit freeform, and also like the discussion, it kind of boils down to a point where Jonah has kind of created in his mind like an understanding of like what he kind of thinks is this metaphysical thing that he saw, and I, as the storyteller, can kind of bounce off of Jonah and kind of like ask him, like, what do you think it was, like, out of character that you saw? What was the thrust? What was the thing that you think you saw?
I want to say it was something like
Was it somebody utilizing the occult? Was it somebody kind of drawing something forward from the veil, like beyond the veil? Like
I think it was more so like a I don't want to say monster, but like
so,
something like a spirit or an
some horror from beyond that kind of pierced
yeah.
the veil just for a
Was it the
moment.
Hat Man?
The
Oh my god.
Bagman.
No, the Hat Man.
Batman.
Oh, the
No,
Hat Man.
there's a
Oh,
hat man.
Don't
yeah.
don't give me like trauma
Sorry,
about the
sorry.
frickin' Bagman, okay?
Oh no,
It's
the
this close.
Bagman.
You guys were attacked by the Bagman?
The
Yeah,
other guys act
the
by the Bagman
Bagman.
in the Sundays.
Damn.
Yeah.
I'm
I
so
was trying to get
sorry.
him out of that bag. We
For
almost
those
killed
who
the
don't
Bagman.
know, in D&D, there was
Ugh.
reference to something in the Ravenloft book called the Bagman, which is like a creature that lives inside bags of holding, but like slips into each one through the spaces between. So that's what the Bagman is. It's
That's why sometimes you can't find that
Mm.
magical item that you
because they
really,
took
really
it.
need. Yeah, the
Thank
Bagman
Yeah,
took it.
goodness. Thank goodness we had you
just like
know,
the Dryer Man.
a scrap to cover
Just like
everything.
the Dryer Man.
Steals your
Yeah.
socks. Yeah,
Steals your
steals your
socks.
socks.
It totally wasn't my ninja.
Right.
My dryer man keeps putting
It
holes in my
was. It must have
socks.
been the bag man. He's touched.
So
That cheese wheel just vanished.
I like the idea that it's something that's kind of like for Nicholas. Do you think it was something that was eventually kind of explained to a point where he's understood it, or is it still something that you like the character does not know exactly what he saw, like what he encountered that day as
I
a child?
think I think that would have been one of like the first entities that he would have looked into.
Gotcha.
He doesn't know everything about it, but he knows like enough.
Hmm. I love that. So you've kind of moved past that thrust, and now the question has like evolved. It's more of
Hmm.
a more, give me more.
Yeah.
Love that. Okay, so similarly, if anybody wants to volunteer, what's your
Mine's
count?
super easy since I'm a soldier in this last great war. Um, I'm gonna say that the catalyst was during the war, something supernatural was drawn to the carnage of the war, as it usually is, whether or not it was summoned or just drawn there. But I encountered it, and I want to say I'm a badass, and so I tried to fight it. And you said that we could be inducted by some other member of the organization, so I'm gonna go with someone saw me trying to fight this stupid monster,
Perfect.
and offered me a position in the organization. And so my question would be, can these creatures be killed and defeated, and how do I accomplish that? And I just want to
Um,
protect the world from evil, but also like kick some ass while I'm doing it because
Well,
soldier vibes.
I like it. So the thing I'm gonna kind of twist here a little bit.
Okay.
So it was definitely some horror that was kind of plaguing the war, and I think like it wasn't just kind of like rambunctious evil horror that kind of came in and started beating people up. Instead,
Right.
one of the things that's kind of present in like a war torn kind of situation is there's a lot of fear and there's a lot of depression that kind of exists there. Um, and I'm thinking that the entity that you were kind of engaging with, and you probably kind of rose up to engage with, was something that was basically feeding itself off of that kind of malaise, off of that kind of state of depression. And you felt yourself slipping like other members of your battalion, but you then saw past the veil and saw what it was. Oh, I gotta stop that from happening. Hold on. I have the beeps happening and someone's typing in the chat.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. I just forgot to turn off the beeps. I did not turn off the beeps. I usually have those turned off. Okay, cool. They're off now. You can type away. But it was something that you saw and nobody else really noticed. And so as you kind of tried to fight against it, some people were kind of like, well, what are you talking about? And continued with their depression. And as you kind of tried to engage it, what ended up happening is it led you to a place where it was basically going to get rid of you because you were a nuisance. You were basically calling attention to it. And that's when the Light Keeper and their circle showed up, defeated it, and then instead of letting you go back to the front, they just said, you can see past the veil. You're coming with us. You have sight. Um, And I think that's a really solid kind of starting point. It wasn't that, other people would have been able to see the fight happening. It was more something that you invested in. And so when they defeated it, it was very much kind of a banishing, not like a death. Like, because you've seen death, you're a soldier, you know how that looks. And so, like, that question that you have, can these things die, or is it literally just kind of like a shooing away for a time, is a really solid question. And I think one that'll evolve over time, because we may see entities that can die, and you may do the deed, but we also might see some that are only kind of shooable, so to speak.
Send them somewhere else.
Yeah,
But
not fucking here.
energy cannot. Yeah, energy cannot be created or destroyed.
Right. Absolutely. I love
Go
that.
on, get.
Really, really solid.
You are seriously bumming me out, dog. Like,
Huh?
No, like
No,
he was
no,
Oh,
saying,
God.
like
It was
bumming me
it
out.
was a
Please
bit.
leave.
It was a
bumming me
bit.
Yeah,
out.
it
Get
was
the
a
hell out of
bit.
here.
Fair.
Go on, get.
So,
Get out of here.
Joseph, Fox, and Elizabeth, any thoughts on your catalyst and your question?
I'm still typing mine.
Ooh, typing. We like that.
She's typing it up. She's got an essay going.
We like thorough.
I'm working on it.
Yeah. What about you, Fox? And what about you, Joseph? Again, if you want to riff, I can riff, obviously. Like, I mean, I can definitely help you with your thought processes. It's what my purpose as storyteller here is.
I mean, my guy's a criminal, so like they say in this little book, you gotta live while you can. So he's probably seen some shit.
Yeah. Well, I'm thinking, like, if New Fair is very similar to a lot of the cities they mentioned, New York at the turn of the century, I mean, there's probably some bad shit happening in the streets.
Oh, absolutely.
Forget
Gangs
about
of
it.
New York style over here.
Yeah, yeah. Again, I don't know all the details about the specifics there, but assuredly so. There's definitely probably.
Oh, there were for sure a lot of Italian gangs in New York at that time.
Lots of immigrants, all in general.
Irish too.
Irish too, yeah.
Taking a look at the districts of New Fair, this is in the handout, the PDF that I kind of sent forward. If you have that available. But one of the districts in question, you've got Red Lamp, which is kind of a location for kind of legalized sex work. Most establishments here sell three things: either sex, scarlet, or the chance to gamble your money away. And real quick, catch up, Kat, because I think you missed it. There is a drug that comes from the Scarlet Wood off to the kind of northeasterly kind of direction. That is basically the drug of choice for folks here. I guess it has kind of a similarity to, I'm assuming, opium, but I, again, don't know the specifics. But based on how it read,
I was kind of hoping it was like magic mushrooms.
I just honestly, like, personally, like, when I think like turn of the century drug, my mind is thinking
Opium,
like
cocaine.
a smoke filled room. Yeah, it's like smoking cocaine or crap.
No,
Whatever.
no. It was literally like they put coke and like cocaine in everything. It was
Yeah.
in Coke. That's why it's
Coca-Cola.
called
Yeah,
Coca-Cola.
that's why it's there.
Cocaine cola. Except now
This
we
one
got
has zero cocaine. Coke zero.
Mine's got the
cocaine.
full cocaine. Oh,
I have full cocaine.
Oh, that thing makes me think of those memes where it's like, "Mom, your grandma said she did so much more when she was your age." Yeah, well, there was coke in grandma's cocaine back then.
There was coke in her cocaine. Double
All of that,
cocaine.
double cocaine.
and then
that
they
was
were
They
in
treated
like,
you for ghosts.
yeah.
Cut it
No,
with the
they were.
Coca-Cola.
They also had
Do
like
some meth about it.
just like over the counter like morphine and shit. Like it was the wild
Wild.
west.
Didn't they also have horse trank?
Oh yeah.
Also,
You could
looking
get
at
pretty
it,
much any drug over the counter back then.
I think Nine
Except
Irons.
alcohol at one point.
And ice cream.
Nine
And ice
Irons is
cream.
also a pretty solid place too. So Red Lamp is basically kind of like ne'er do well, like, location.
The red lamp.
The red light district.
Red lamp,
Literally,
yeah.
like this is like what's called red lamp.
But there are also people who are like artists or scientists that buy large workspaces in this area at affordable prices because when a den basically gets turned over or like it causes or loses itself, like that's empty space, that's land, like that's property. And then 9 irons, it seems like that's a bit more of like a kind of
Like the
shanty
prison
town.
and the police force right next to a shanty town of 4 people.
Yeah, 100%. That definitely sounds like it would be kind of like a gutter snipes kind of like place to be. And that's a good question too. Criminal is kind of is a bit vague. Like what kind of crime did we get up to, Foxen? Are we talking like a gutter snipe? Are we talking like a cut purse? We're talking about like a burglar. We're talking about like a
Burglar.
okay. So we're talking about burglar. We're
Sneaky,
talking about
sneaky.
sneaky. Okay. So then, yeah, that probably means that you might have lived in one of those districts, but you didn't stay there. It's probably the case that you operated elsewhere. And that actually gives us an interesting angle. So you were trying to steal some stuff from an opulent kind of house kind of situation and possibly found something that you weren't supposed to find. And then when you were caught out with that object, maybe that was the Candela Obscura that caught you, and we're kind of not sure how you were able to touch it. Like maybe it was something that, like, to that effect. Unless you have something different.
Drop it! I can't.
No. You could. So that's the thing. Like, so think of like an object, like in kind of just media that like it's cursed, right? And the second you touch it, you get the curse, right? Or you touch it and it like possesses you with the contents of it. But you did it and it didn't. And so you think nothing the wiser, and you're just like, ha 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 ha, and you run off with it. And the Candela Obscura find you and catch you, and they're like, how the fuck? And they're
I'm
like,
thinking
okay,
like
I just sold it to the pawn shop over there. What the?
no, couldn't flip it. Or you tried to, and the guy went nuts.
Yeah, the guy went crazy.
I'm thinking like SCP, like objects like that.
Oh yeah,
There you go.
absolutely.
There you go.
So, are you thinking that's good, or do you want to? Do you have something better?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay. And then Joseph.
Writing my novel.
I want to say, how long ago did we say the war was?
So it's
It says 3 years.
3 years ago.
Okay. So, I mean, like, doctor, I want to say, kind of make it a little weird, but, my guy's gonna be, like, I guess, from a, like, wealthier family, but doesn't have anything to do with them, wanted to help, like, with dying people in the war, whatever.
Sure.
Similar to our soldier. I maybe saw something like when like treating people and I guess I don't know, I'm trying to think of a question for that, but like I've been trying to base it off of there, like go from there, but that's kind of like my initial idea so far.
Well, we can definitely tether, like, if you want, if you're interested, Kat and Joseph, like, we could tether. Like, if the situation is you're basically in the hospital or the MASH unit, I guess, or whatever the medical unit would be
Yeah.
called. You're in there and you're dealing with people who are coming in and they're saying, like, they do not have the will to do anything. Like, and their commanding officer is like, this person is like useless to me. Give them what they need to move on. Just fuel them up, get them back on the front lines. And so these people are coming in with no symptoms, like no like telltale kind of like mechanism for why this is happening, but they're coming in completely like destroyed mentally, and it seems to be affecting them physically. And so randomly a soldier comes around and is like asking people like if they see this thing, and you're like, what a crazy person. But because you're like out of options and you don't know, like you go with them to the catch point, like where Cat Soldier kind of goes to stop the entity after chasing it and tailing it, and you're kind of aware that this is happening, but most people are just like looking away because they think that individual is kind of loopy, but you're curious, and so you go, you see the entity, you see the soldier fight the entity, and then out of nowhere these people show up, and when they ask you if you saw anything or what you saw, and you are forced to answer questions, you do so honestly, and that kind of traps you in the Candela Obscura in a sense, which is a bit freeing for you at the same time, because again, the further you can kind of get away from the tethers of your rich, well-to-do family folk is kind of a breath of fresh air. And this seems to be a breath of fresh air that's not only like liberating, but it's also revealing. Like you're seeing more of what is in actuality. And for someone like you, the doctor, I think that'd be cool. What would your questions be, though? We did miss a couple questions, though. I want to make sure we get those. We've got Kat's question. Kat wants to know if these motherfuckers can die. But Foxen, so with yours, like, what is your question? Like, where is the what's the rub, right? Like, you stole an item you didn't really understand, and you're being told that it like has magical powers and should have killed you by just touching it, and you're just like, yeah, but it didn't.
Why am I immune?
Yeah, why am I immune to this? Why is this a thing, right? Now, this doesn't mean you have plot armor, okay? Keep that in mind. Don't just go grabbing
You were
cursed
immune to that
This
one.
one's cursed. I got this,
Do
guys.
not go grabbing cursed artifacts. Do not full Jonah.
Okay, he's not
okay?
immune. We
Never
could-
go
that-
full
that-
Jonah. That's not what we do.
I built a character where I can do that. All right,
Fair enough. But
I
yeah.
can touch the cursed items.
So, like, what? I guess it's more. The question
Still
is.
gonna impale in your hand.
You're losing an arm this session. Who would have thought? But no.
Well, the game starts. Your character's one arm.
Back on point. Back on point.
He did something wrong.
Back on point. Hold on. So, I guess the question would be more nuanced in that it would be, why do some more of a question of why does it affect some and not others? Why are some people able to see this stuff and not others? It's a question of like, how do we kind of make it? How do we understand the specific mechanic so we can make it either possible for everybody to resist or everybody to see? Is that more kind of sound, do you think? Like more of kind of like something
Yeah.
you don't care about other people, right? Is that no. Okay.
Well, he's a street rat. He don't give
Yeah.
a crap. He's
Help me!
I
not
understand.
Robin Hood. He's not Robin from the people who go, there you
I guess
go.
the question comes after the thrust, though. So, like, once you're kind of given like a presence in the Candela Obscura, I don't think they just, let you live at your shanty house and like, I'm sure they house you. I'm sure they kind of like bring you up from that. So, like, the problems of yesteryear are, I mean, like, so Joseph's character's not still having to like bandage up people who have their legs blown off, and Kat's character is not still fighting in a war.
Sure he is.
So, like, the problems
Got
of yesteryear.
PTSD. He's fighting every day.
The criminal aspect, I mean, still remains. Like, the skills are still there, but I don't think like the drive for stealing would be there like it was. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
He still steals.
So, I mean, again,
He still steals, but he's moved his skills. He's more of survey. Look.
Right.
Scout.
okay. So then, better question. That object you thought was worth something, but in the truth of the matter, it wasn't. It was cursed. It was negative money, right? So, like, I guess at this point, now that you're in the Candela Obscura, the question is, what is value? Like, what is something that is really worth something to me? And what is worth? So, like, as a member of the Candela Obscura, you're also looking for, like, things
Looking
that...
for the meaning of life.
Not meaning of life, but something that you feel could, like, be worth something. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Does the meaning of worth kind of changes with that catalyst?
Like I could have just died for this
Yeah.
thing that's worth nothing.
Exactly, and you would have never known the wiser if you weren't special. Okay, and then for Joseph,
Special ed.
catalyst, obviously very similar in mind. Like, you saw something that was affecting people and kind of draining them, and kind of happen chance saw it. What's the question? I mean, obviously, like, there's a
Is
lot
there
of
a
questions.
way to like undo the damage that is done, or like how do I, or
How do I help the people that are affected by these things?
yeah, like, and then that provides me getting deeper and deeper into it, because like there's more than one kind of
Yeah.
entity or whatever, and
And
they may all have different effects, and maybe
Yeah,
I
you
can even
understand.
find a way to fix curses on people with medicine.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. Very, very solid. All right, is the novel finished?
What?
Is the novel finished?
I said that it was earlier.
Oh, I
was
missed
just
it. I'm
like,
sorry. I was.
it's
We
okay.
were
You guys are
going.
talking. It's fine.
Yeah, we got you. We got you. What'd you got?
So my idea is that she's kind of an investigative journalist and crime stories always sell. Everyone loves a good crime story. And while investigating the story, she ended up witnessing a horror preying upon one of the witnesses of the case that she was trying to interview. Um, and then she managed to get it on camera. That led to her questioning whether the horror, because she started seeing them again, whether the horrors are the cause or the effect of many of these crimes.
Now, real quick, this is me just from naivety.
Oh, you're good.
Is camera or like a part
Yeah.
of the gear? Okay, cool.
Yep. Yeah, I
'Cause
double
again,
checked it.
my brain was like, it's like the turn of the century. I guess.
Oh
they're
yeah, they had
there.
cameras.
Yeah.
Is it like those
They had
big
like
bulky?
no 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 no
No,
no no
no,
no
no,
no
no.
no no
It'd be a
no.
hand
They
cam.
have little they
Oh,
have little like brownie camera. They were
Yep.
called brownie cameras. My grandpa had several.
It was
oh,
the
okay.
They
1860s that you're thinking about.
1855 is
Gotcha.
whenever the first photo was taken, and then
Yeah, they got the big bulky
and
cameras
those
in
were
like
the
Yeah, yeah,
big
yeah.
box puff
Okay.
cameras, and then
yep.
by the turn of the century, they had the little tiny like pull-out cameras, and you can squish them. They have a little accordion.
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah,
So that's
my
perfect.
grandfather was a photographer.
Now, okay. So more interesting, just like a touch, the same thing, but just like a touch different, is that you caught it on camera, right?
Yeah.
But it wasn't on camera. So when you developed the film, it wasn't there. You saw it with your own eyes, but there is
Um,
no physical evidence of it.
See, I was thinking maybe the
Are they taking
Candela.
you in to secure it?
Yeah.
Because yeah,
So it doesn't go public. Like she tried submitting it, but like maybe it just like turned out like looking like to her, she saw like a horror, but on camera it's like a smudge
yeah, that's
or
good.
something.
So that's good. So it's not like if you show it to
It's not
somebody,
like, ooh, spooky guy. It's like
it's like a
a
distortion.
smudge. Yeah, a distortion.
And so for
Like,
them, that
oh,
would
it's
be
it's an orb.
not that bad. It wasn't that bad.
No. But you know, like,
Yeah, I get what you're
okay,
saying.
so have you ever seen like
It's an
the
orb.
Victorian like plasma
Yes.
It was a weather balloon.
ones? It's like that, but like in reality, she saw like the
the
Hat
actual
Man.
thing. The actual thing. Yeah.
Yeah,
Why do we keep going back to the Hat Man?
Well,
I
it's not
don't
gonna
know.
be the
It's my
Hat
favorite.
So I like it, and yeah, I like that the evidence is nebulous. Like, so you see it, and you're like, "This is
Mhm.
this," but like people who aren't you are going to be like,
Yeah,
"Just a
the
camera
fuck are you
malfunction."
talking about?
You know, like if you go to other journalists, they might not be
Yeah,
the
don't
same.
you know how to develop a
But I
piece
think
of film?
I think like that kind of commentary would definitely cause the interest of the Candela to like
Mm.
pull their eyes and move them towards you, and then once they saw the evidence, they would see it as like, yeah, she got one, and then once they heard that you're saying what you saw and describing it, but it
Mhm.
appears different on the camera, maybe it was just moving or whatever, you're trying to explain it away, like with your photo like knowledge, and then they
Yeah.
come to you and are just like, okay, so. And I guess the question there is kind of like a revelation question, right? What do you have for your question already? Just so I can see.
It was, are these horrors the cause or the effect of many of these crimes? Like,
Got so more focused on the story than the actual like
yeah,
reveal, like the
yeah.
that's good. So yeah,
Because like she's probably actually seen these things
yeah,
previously, just thinking like, oh, it's a shadow or something.
right.
But then once she actually sees it, gets the evidence, then she knows what she's looking for.
Got you.
And then it's like, are these, is it because of or the result of?
Well, I'll spoilers. People are just assholes sometimes.
I mean, yeah.
Speaking of which, Foxen is a criminal. And he did not have someone help him with.
And and an asshole. But we're not going to go there.
I don't think I have the rights to say that.
I'm
but
just missing.
No, totally fine. Go ham.
Of the two of us, I'm the asshole, not him.
I woke her up this morning.
He
I
did.
win.
He did.
No,
Woke me up
He was
this morning
being
and I'm
lazy.
mad.
I wouldn't let her
that was
sleep.
the funniest bit because it was like 9 o'clock on your timestamps, and I was like,
I'm
oh my
like,
God.
listen, my alarm goes off in 14 minutes. Leave me alone.
Hilarious.
She had it on the time. 13 minutes and 30 seconds. Goodbye.
Hilarious. So we've got
Yes.
all our catalysts.
5 seconds later. No.
We've got all our questions. We have everything kind of beyond that. Style is kind of like, what is your character's overall feel and aesthetic? For simplistic mentality, like it's kind of more, like I'm not a fashion person. I believe Elizabeth is kind of our fashionista present, sewing artist, as we've discussed. But it did describe two main kind of styles that are kind of present. I don't know if those kind of translate to like fashion on person. But if you're just kind of typical, like, I mean, fashion's not...
My roll 20 character is already wearing it. Look at him.
So you found a picture?
No,
Look at us.
look
Well,
it up.
several of us got some good Victorian style pictures on here.
Very cool, very cool. So I will say that I'm planning on just using the token options. So right now we've got Jonah's token. I have a smattering of tokens. If you pull one or like an image to your character sheet, I will look for one that looks similar to what you've got and drop it. Or I'll go in eventually sometime during the week and I'll make a token custom for it. So long as it's not AI art, because I'm not a huge fan of it. I mean, if you use it, fine. I'm not going to judge you. I'm just not personally a fan.
Listen, it's all I can do. I can't draw.
I know, that's what I'm like. Look
I
here.
understand a
Yeah,
lot.
Look here,
like-
sir.
I
Not all of
understand-
us are talented.
I understand a lot of you here are weak. Not like
That is true.
me and
We're
Elizabeth.
weak.
My talents lay elsewhere. Thank you
That's
very
absolutely
much.
fine, and that's the point of a community. We
I've
definitely
dumped
want...
all of my points into intellect. I apologize.
Oh, are you saying I don't have any points in intellect?
Well, I didn't say
You
anything.
have like 2.
I also have
I
a pretty
saw
deep
it too,
inventory of Victorian photographs and turn of the century photographs I can pull from.
Absolutely.
I can
Yeah,
do
just
funny
toss them on there.
voices.
And
That's it.
yeah, I mean, I believe most of those will probably be copyright free anyways because it's
They
like
are.
antediluvian shit. So cool. Okay, so circle time, right? Is it circle time? Do we get to do circle time?
I think so.
Is it
Probably.
Circle
Circle
time.
time.
It's a circle. Let the
Yes.
circle be unbroken.
Okay. So
The circles
All right.
round.
Hands off. Nope. Not doing this.
Well, actually,
I have.
it's, it was relationships and then circle.
go. So
Uh-oh.
former relationships is what I just opened up to. Step 8. So we did kind of cover a little bit of that in a connection between Joseph and Kat, which was cool. But yeah, so former relationships. This game is about magic and investigation, but the story lives entirely in the players at the table. We encourage you to invest in deep, complicated, nuanced relationships from the onset, then build the horror of your sessions around the emotional journeys players have chosen to experience, which I aim to do. So at this stage, the table should share their characters with one another, which we've done by building them together with one another. And then we've got your character names. This is not the thing I want, is it? Relationship questions. That's what I want. So, there are a number of different types of relationships, okay? And, oh my gosh, why is this being so difficult? This is silly. So it pulled, it did it again. Okay, so the relationships here are one-sided, okay? Meaning it's not necessary for two characters to feel the same way about one another, or even know how the other feels. Sometimes the most impactful relationships are based on holding one another in different regard. In any case, have a conversation with the other players about what relationships you are interested in your characters navigating, and get their consent for any of the choices you make before proceeding. Each relationship is a guide. Each question is a suggestion. They are designated to create a conversation between players to enhance both characters' story arcs. We encourage you to always choose the most impactful option and explore ideas outside of this book that may facilitate your particular group. So the specific ones that they have listed here are bully, champion, confidant, co-worker, enemy, family, lover, mentor, muse, old friend, rival, sibling, soulmate, stranger, ward. So let's focus on, since we have kind of a connected tissue with two of the narratives here, let's focus on them first. So Kat and Joseph. Um, Regarding your relationship to Joseph, Kat, how do you think you would view Joseph's character based on what we described of their transaction during the end of the war, and also like how you think it would have continued beyond that point?
Can you? So, am I picking words out of that list of words you
Yeah.
just rattled off?
Hold on. I think I can. I think I can pull this and force you to see it.
Okay, force me to see it.
Context.
Do we need to add that to the list?
Um.
Um,
So again, I didn't mean force is a strong word, but
I was being.
you'll see in a
I
second what I mean.
I react poorly to things. Okay, I'm weird.
It's okay. I'm totally fine. Just if I do cross lines, I do want to know, so I don't want to.
You can also go to the content thing. It's in alphabetical order relationship questions, I think is what it's called.
Yes, correct. Great. Relationships is one.
Oh, actually, if I just click relationships, I guess bully, champion, confidant, coworker. Is that all you're talking about?
Yes.
Those words? Okay, fantastic.
And then if you click those open, they kind of give you a few questions regarding like that specific word that you are going to kind of ask yourself. I believe one of them would suffice. I don't think you really need to ask all of them, but it's good to kind of round it out if you want to. So, yeah, if you need some time there, Jonah, I'm assuming you're chomping at the bit. Do you have anybody?
Yeah, but say he can go.
Do you have any?
No.
Yes. Do you have anybody you want to kind of specifically kind of relationship focus on?
oh, jeez. I don't know. I don't know.
Stranger for all of them. You
I
got it.
bullied you as a kid.
I was thinking like maybe Nicholas Dark has been in Candela Obscura for a while.
Yeah.
And maybe he wasn't there for everyone.
That's why I
But,
got that shit. I bullied
know-
him because he got magical powers.
Hold on. Jonah Cook.
Like maybe he was there for, someone or multiple someone's like initiation.
Okay.
And, he was like overseeing as like the resident occultist.
One thing to take into account is remember that you have possibly been here longer than others, but the truth of the matter is, if that's the case, if you're the longest Candela Obscura member due to your kind of early access to it, everyone's a part of the circle, so no one in this group for you will be a stranger unless they are
Yeah.
brand effing new. What's your question, Foxen?
I'm not that I was good.
You look like you're raising your hand. Sorry.
No. It was just...
Okay.
Hi, I got a question.
I thought that was what you were doing because I was like, no more talking for a second. Let Jonah talk. I thought you were like, I got a question. Do you bully? The teacher bullied me. So
My relationship
to
with
Fox
John
would be bully.
is bully.
I got bullied.
But back to you. So you kind of have like a situation where I don't think stranger's going to be one. I don't think old friend's going to be one. Probably. I don't think you need to have one.
It could be mentor.
It could be mentor, like for a few, yeah. But I don't think there are any. Like I don't think you genuinely have to have a relationship with everyone. Do you? It's not necessary for two characters to feel the same way about each other.
Yeah.
I
Like
guess-
some of us can be strangers and then
I guess it's best to like newer people probably you're not going to be terribly aware of them, and like for them they're not going to be terribly aware of you. Fair enough. Just to kind of make sure, like, is there anyone that thinks that they might be rivaling Jonah's character? Like when you kind of initiated into it, do you think that like seeing this strong sense of like older leadership and like pseudo authority? Because remember, kind of disestablished.
I have a question. How old is Jonah's character?
Great question.
he's like 40s, 50s, around there. He's an older gentleman.
Well, you can link it with
Older.
my character because part of mentor is this person saved your life.
Yeah, so it could be the case that he was the one who, like,
Who caught me with my with my bag of goodies.
that's fair. Yeah, that's a good link up. So then, for you, Jonah, mentor for Foxen, do you like it or no?
Yeah, I'm down.
Okay, so the questions that are available there, you can just roll a d6 or you can choose one, but we already know which one it is. So for
So it could be
Foxen,
3 and 5.
mentor is directional. It's specifically like towards the person who is the mentor. So Foxen, your relationship to um, Jonah's character, Mr. Dark, is that mentor. Okay, and then I would say the question would be: this person once saved your life. What happened? We've answered that. Is that fair to say?
And I would choose Ward.
And you would choose Ward. He is your ward, correct?
Okay.
But he could also
Mhm.
think of you as a mentor, and you could think of him as, a rival, or you could think of him as whatever. But Ward's good. It's a very simple kind of, connective tissue there. And then why?
Jonah just uses me. He's like, "Hey, you're really good at stealing stuff. There's a magical book in that building over there."
So
Go
I,
get him.
I think a very interesting kind of aspect
Yes,
here,
master.
since you've been kind of aligned with Candela Obscura for a while, you know that this item fell into the hands of somebody who was aware of what it does, right?
Mhm.
And I would say that, like, you, in a sense, are either going to be protective of Foxton's character. You feel the need to protect this person. What is the threat, and what actions do you do to ensure their safety? They have some sort of benefit, some sort of means of stopping them from being affected by this specific artifact, possibly more,
Mhm.
protecting them from their own kind of hubris, perhaps.
Yeah.
Or perhaps the item has claimed somebody that you were protecting and acting as a mentor for before. You once had a different ward. What happened to the
Mhm.
ward? They died because of their handling of that object. And this person reminds you of that person, but he reminds you of that person and what could have been had he been able to withstand touching the object and not horribly dying.
Yeah.
Either of those I think are pretty solid, unless you want a different question.
I like the idea of I once had a different ward
Me too.
and they remind me, or Foxen's character reminds me of them.
Perfection. And yeah, I like that. So we have established the kind of connection point between those two. And to kind of formulate these relationships a little further, like, we just need to kind of think about these kind of dualities. So back to Kat and Joseph. You obviously knew each other from the war. There was obviously a sense of kind of like, misalignment of kind of like a disregard for Kat's character. Do we have a name for Kat's character?
Catherine.
That's easy.
I know. That's why I thought of it. I'm like, I need something easy to remember.
So Catherine was kind of looked at as kind of a bit awkward. So there's that. So yeah, I mean, looking at it, it could just be coworker both ways because you worked together.
Oh, because I was telling Joseph, I'm like, I was writing something else when you were talking about our actual initial interaction. So
Okay.
I guess I came in while, I mean, because he's a doctor, a war doctor, or would be there. Um, and did he fix up my wounds? But he was
Oh no,
talking.
you weren't wounded.
Oh, okay.
This
Of
is
I
course
was
at
not.
like, that sounds like something I would do, but probably after the
This
fact,
is at the
not
point
not
where
before you
yeah,
pulled me
this is
away.
at the point where you start seeing the thing.
The things.
Ooh. And so
Oh,
the people who are being kind of affected by this thing are being brought to the doctor, and the doctor can't find any reason why they're in this state of kind of just malaise. And you're like,
okay.
it's because of this thing that's going around and doing, and so people are going to look at you kind of awkwardly. Joseph's character, more inquisitive, is like, okay, well, I've got a lot of work to do, but I'll check in on them later and see what I can find out. And that later was when you were basically going to trap it, so you thought, and then when you engaged it, you were basically not able to do much of anything, and it was there to kill you. You were actually the one falling for the trick. And then Joseph's character, who is named
Javier.
Javier. Javier is like, oh shit, I can see it also. And then the Lightkeeper and the Candela Obscura show up. One circle of them show up, defeat the creature, banishing it away, and they basically take your account. You saw it, so they're like, okay, induct. And then Joseph's character, being very honest and truthful, and obviously filled with notes, no doubt, you saw it, induct. So that's kind of the situation.
Okay. So on the champion one, it said this person once spoke out on your behalf at great personal risk, you know, or um, I wouldn't say necessarily protected me from something, but helped me in
Yeah.
some way. That I was also getting those
So I like that. So that would be
thoughts.
Joseph towards, so that would be
The
Javier towards Catherine. So is
Yes,
that good for you, Joseph? You basically
Yeah.
championed them. Okay. And then on the opposite side, so Cat to Joseph. And I do like that it's not always being kind of looked at in one direction. It's also kind of looking at how the other person might view you. But yeah, I think like um, from that point of view, like so you make sure I have that wording right. So you feel you are championing
You.
for um, yeah. So Catherine thinks that Javier is a champion. That's the relationship that she has formed in that direction. And then the direction we need to figure out is Javier to Catherine. How does Javier view Catherine?
I was thinking it could be like either champion or coworker, just because it's like champion being
They protected
like,
the group.
or no, not even from like a level of protection, but it also says like, um, uh, what was I saying? Maybe, yeah, they protected the group, but it also like got like helped me find out why everyone was acting the way they were. I guess I don't know.
They told you
So
that you were in danger.
yeah, that was what
yeah.
stood out. But I was like, it wasn't really that they were protecting me, but they were trying. So I guess that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, I
So
like
yeah.
that. So that's very interesting. So it's a double champion situation. Both of you
Mhm.
kind of see each other as like a protector, kind of someone who will step forward for the other. So it'll be very interesting when these two characters are kind of brought to the fore and they are kind of like vying against one another for the opportunity to save or help the other. I like that. That's really good. So we've got everybody with one relationship directionality, except for the sentences need to be finished. Elizabeth. So if you want to pick one person to start with, who would that be, Elizabeth?
Um, just because I disagree doesn't mean you have to like point me out. God.
Just want to finish my
Um,
sentence, okay? Damn it, jeez. What do you want?
Unacceptable.
no, I'm sorry. Maybe. Oh, I've lost that list because I closed it. Shit.
Shit.
Well, I think that we're obviously going to kind of create a negative, like ones we're not going to use. Are any of these people? Does anybody want to like kind of be a bully towards the journalist?
Yeah.
Okay, so then we have a bully. I don't think
The
anybody.
only reason why I say is because the Candela Obscura is about keeping things hidden
Oh,
from the public.
you were serious. This is good. Go
Yeah.
continue.
So Elizabeth is playing, a journalist,
Who wants to get the
trying
truth out
to.
there?
Yes, and we don't want
So
that.
you're bullying them into not doing that.
Yeah.
I love that. That's actually really interesting. So then you're
So kind of a rival then
well,
Yeah.
directionally, what we would look at
for
here
Yeah.
me
is
to
He
him,
would like, yeah.
or enemy.
you, Jonah, are
Enemies.
your direction towards them is bully. So this person does something that makes your life more difficult. Oh, so who? Um,
I think it would be enemy, right?
yeah.
Yeah,
Jonah, and
enemy.
then for
Well,
like,
it can't be the case that it again
Enemy.
bullying doesn't have to take the form of like you know
Could just be coworker.
yeah, it could, but I don't think I think he wants to
Yeah.
make it more of an antagonistic relationship. Is
Yeah.
that fair to say, Jonah?
Yeah, but not so like.
No,
Don't
obviously
say it's
not.
so loud,
Yeah, sure,
Like,
sure, sure, sure. Um, so again, when you say bully as kind of like the term, it's directional. So the person is viewing you as a bully. Do we think that Elizabeth, your character's name is Pearl?
Yeah.
Do we think that Pearl would think that the guy who's kind of oldest in the Candela Obscura part of this circle, kind of telling you to stop being so like open about things that you're talking about with people who are not members of the society? Do you think that that would be considered bullying? Would she view that as such, or would she basically like understand she's being kind of talked to in that way because she is fucking up? Or would she even fuck up? Is that because we didn't even ask that? Is that something that she would do?
Yeah.
As
I don't think so, just because like she's an investigative journalist, but like she also would feel like that's kind of like a little old school.
yeah.
Because I feel like she's pretty like young in her career. Um,
Well, I think too. Like again, I think the inquisitive nature of a journalist may be something that's kind of like she might be when talking to someone and asking questions. She may not be as guarded with certain
yeah.
information. She may not be like holding like secrets close to the chest, like
Mhm.
an old hat kind of guy, like
Like the
Nicholas,
Hat Man.
like an old hat man
Jesus
kind of
Christ.
guy, like Nicholas would be. So I like that. So then Pearl views Nicholas as a bully,
Okay.
and then how does Nicholas view Pearl? And so it can be a situation where you're viewing them as kind of a stranger, right? So, like, you don't have
Mm,
much of a history. They're newer to the group, right?
yeah.
You feel you can trust them, but at the same time, like, I think there's kind of an aspect of, like, I don't know, like, I think, like, you're going to be, like, pointed, right? You're going to be kind of, no, don't say that. Or, like, whoa, 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 whoa. Hold on a second. That's not how
Don't
we
do
do
that.
things. Um, I would say then, like, a characteristic about this person, like, seems so familiar. Maybe in your early kind of, like, seeking out the Candela Obscura, you were also very open and I saw
Mm,
this. And so you see your own mistakes. Like, you see your own,
yeah.
like, and so you're not hostile towards Pearl.
Would it be like a mentor type of thing?
No, no, no,
No.
no, no. Because I think a mentor is kind of a situation where it's you're seeing them as a mentor. You're not seeing
Yeah, yeah,
her as
yeah.
a mentor. You're seeing her as a stranger, and a characteristic about this person seems so familiar. Who from your
Mm,
past do they remind you of? You. They remind you of you. And so you
mhm.
are basically seeing them as like a newer person, but you're seeing a lot of yourself in your early days, like when you first got into the Obscura, and you're like, I had to learn how to be more secretive. This is a secret society. I got into it by being really open and doing everything I can to find out about it, but here I am. And now she's in the Candela Obscura, and like, how she started and also what she does in it is very similar to how you kind of did it. Does that make sense? Are we
Yeah,
good? We like that?
I get it. It works. I
So
like it.
she sees you as a bully, but you see her as kind of like a new person that reminds you of you.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So then let's look at the dualities here. We've got those two. And then we'll just kind of go ahead and work through. Let's go ahead and say Jonah, since like we kind of have an easy way of it. Jonah has a connection to the right side of the board, so Elizabeth and Fox. And so now we just need to determine how Jonah's character is related to Kat or Catherine. Um, and I think that they came in at the same time. So let's formulate an order, right? Nicholas is the oldest member of the guild, or of the circle. Maybe he's served with other circles. This is the new circle he's been a part of. Ta-da. That's where we're at. Joseph and Kat's characters came in at the same time, exactly the same time. Had to have been. And then I would say Elizabeth and or Foxen's characters came in last, like the most recent. I think that for the ward positioning that we kind of covered with Foxen, a little bit earlier than Elizabeth's character, and for that Elizabeth would basically be like the freshest
Oh
of
yeah.
the group.
That's
I,
what I was thinking.
I think
Was
that makes the
like
most sense.
little baby.
Also, Foxen,
Super
what's your
excited.
character's name?
Alan
Alan Shepard.
Shepard.
Alan Shepard.
Very generic name.
We love it.
It's okay.
Okay.
They got all edgy. I was like, oh, he's Nicholas Dark. I'm something Moon.
So let's look at the kind of interrelationship between Catherine and Nicholas. So again, obviously, old hat guy, situation. It could just be coworker, but I think that
Who are you? Why are you in my house?
like formulating kind of a relationship between like one of them that you think is like the cooler one, like having a favorite, so to speak, might be interesting. And based on who we have here, we've got the doctor who is very kind of intuitive, kind of good at their job and kind of attuned. And then we have the soldier who is very much, like dutiful, capable, and also in a lesser sense intuitive. Who of those two do you think would be someone you could like, connect with more?
I think for like scholarly activities, it would definitely be the
The
doctor.
doctor.
But when it comes to duty, it'll definitely be Catherine's character
Well, I was
or
thinking
Cat's character.
confidant is the direction I'm kind of looking for
Yeah,
directionality.
that's what I was thinking as well.
Now, I think that for Jonah, positionally, your confidant would be Joseph's character. So
Mm,
directionally, you're seeing them as someone that, like, um, you're very cautious around most people, right? You're very
mm,
guarded. But because you understand this person kind of sees the words on the pages similarly to how you do after a long course of study,
yeah.
you're less guarded with them. Like you're a bit more kind of like you understand they're a part of the Candela Obscura. You understand that they have a very solid intellect, and it's probably someone you're kind of like keyed to. Like if you have a situation where you're doing an investigation, the first person you're going to talk to is probably going to be the doctor. Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. So your position towards Joseph would be confidant, and the question we asked is: you're very cautious around everyone, but this person, and why? And cautious can mean like you're also trying to exhibit an air of like not authority, but like venerability, right? You've been a
Confidence.
confidence and like venerability. You've been around a long time. You have this position. You've been with the Candela Obscura for a while. You kind of want to maintain that kind of presence that you have, right? The reason why
Hmm.
Elizabeth thinks you're a bully. Um, so it's good to have that person that you can connect with. And then how does Joseph see Nicholas? Or sorry, not Joseph. Javier see Nicholas. My brain did. How does player see character? But what I meant to say was how does character see character? Javier, how does Javier see
Um,
Nicholas?
I guess like as I pretty much would my character would see people as pretty much everyone the same as like to learn the stuff from. I don't know, but especially because he's been around for a while. So I guess I would say mentor, but like not in a sense of being like a mentor, but like somebody that um I guess has been around. I don't know,
I understand.
but
So
um
again, your version of mentor for Nicholas is not going to be the same as um, uh, Alan's focus on mentor for it. It's going to be a bit different. This is a teacher. This is not a person who is like taking you in or being really helpful all the time. This is someone who's teaching you about the Candela Obscura. This is the person who has the answers to the questions of how do I to stop the effects of these creatures. This is a person that's kind of like your focus, your prism, really into the greater like occult. So I like that. That's solid. That work for you?
Yeah.
And okay, so then for Kat, it sounded like you are kind of reliant on Nicholas. Your character, rather, is reliant on
Yeah,
Nicholas.
well, and I was thinking mentor would probably be a good way for me to see him as well.
Well, it could, but I like confidant is what you were saying before, and my
Okay.
sheet died, so
Oh, okay.
She died.
hold on. I'm having fun with roll 20 tonight.
Fist
We
fight.
are
Fist fight.
I am going to murder it. Okay, so I click on rolls. It loads for a second, and then it shows it. Okay, cool. That's great. Now I'm going to click on relationships, and it says this was a bad brew. Go back. Making a character. We will
Speaking of
start.
that brew, I feel like we between me and the criminal of the group may be an interesting interaction. Just not because like obviously I'm trying to get away from my rich family, but like it would probably make my character uncomfortable.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like, knowing what he has done, like and I don't know how he would feel about my character, but my character is very clearly like
We're rivals.
So you're going to love it, right?
I was like,
He's like, don't steal. Don't tell me what to do, boss man.
I am in love with
Nudie.
this character.
Enemy
actually-
for lovers.
Know to yourself.
You make me
Doc.
uncomfortable, and I like it. No,
The end.
Thanks.
I think you're going for the enemy.
Opening
Is
up
that fair,
AO3
Joseph?
right now. No.
I don't know that it would be enemy. I just I'm looking through these, trying to
Well,
just
so
it'd be uncomfortable, not necessarily like.
You
Because like I
disagree
said,
on a fundamental belief.
I
though,
also
is a good
disagreed
one.
on my family as a fundamental belief and ran away and joined the war. So like,
If
okay.
you're in love with your enemy,
He's we're
Enemies
rivals.
to
Is
lovers,
number
opening
two.
up-
There's something you secretly
Yes.
admire about your rival. You admire my
because he's very
freedom.
free. Yeah, that would be a
There
good
you
one. Yeah.
go.
So we would have I would view him as a rival.
As a
'cause
rival. Okay, we like that.
He is
And
very
then
free, and I am not.
and I am not.
on the flip side of that, so then Foxen directionally for Alan to, oh my god, my brain's already done.
Javier.
I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it. How do you view this kind of? Again, correct me if I'm wrong in my assertions here, but like kind of well-to-do, more cultured, higher class individual that is not someone who had to hone their skill, but instead studied it, and it was kind of almost fed to them on a silver platter in contrast to yourself.
Fucking nerd. Cool.
A fucking nerd as the relationship. Yeah.
Don't
Fundamental
see that
belief.
option.
Dunk that nerd's head in a toilet? Question mark. Why?
Bully?
No, it's bully. That is bully.
That is
That is
bully.
bully. Do you want to be kind of like confrontational in that regard, or do you think that like he's more of a stranger
Hey,
to you?
we could do bully because number 4 is despite the antagonism, your relationship with this person is the most consistent connection in your life.
Oh, we love it. We love it. So,
No!
what do they do that feels reliable? These are the kind of people you deal with all the time, right? The people who not only you steal from, but also the people who buy the shit you steal, right? So, like, you understand the duality of this person. Like, they were given everything in the beginning, and you understand that they don't really want that, right? Where you were given nothing and you want everything. And so you kind of get them, but from like, it's almost like looking at the other side of a coin, right? So I like that. That's really good. So bully to there. So Javier, you are rival to Alan, and Alan is bully to Javier. Okay, perfect. Now,
What did we say for Nicholas to Catherine?
Nicholas to Catherine, we didn't get, I don't think. So
Now your thing
Oh.
crashed.
yeah, Catherine
Gotcha.
to Nicholas is what we were discussing, and I think we decided on. No, we didn't.
Either confidant, or mentor, like one of those
I like
vibes.
confidant, and
Okay.
I think the reason I like confidant is it allows us to kind of play with the concept of when you were inducted, right? And so it could be the case that when you were fighting the thing, like it kind of left some sort of trace on you, right? You know that it can, if it returns here to this world, find you, right? And it was hunting you before. Now, Joseph's character doesn't know that because Joseph wouldn't be as inquisitive or understanding of the occult, whereas Jonah's character, who was in the circle that found you, and again, since you're the oldest too, this is when he kind of branched away from his lightkeeper and moved into kind of a more senior role in his own circle, right? With you two. Um, Maybe he saw that and he understood that. And so he has a dark secret that he holds, and it's kind of a mentor like relationship. Sure, he's continuing to teach you, but it's not as directionally like kind of like present as say, you know, Fox into Jonah. Um, and I like the idea of there like being kind of a connection there that like leaves something on the table, right? It's kind of something that you two understand, have seen, and know about one another. You know he's very wise in the occult, and it's the person you kind of confide in, and you also know that he knows something about you as well. That work for you? And then,
Yes, sir. Sounds good.
do we have a Jonah connection to Kat, or rather a Nicholas to Catherine? I don't know if we got that one. So obviously, like you're you're good with the other guy, right?
Yeah.
So to speak. I think that
Hmm.
hmm,
It's a tough one because I could do Ward again, but
or
it's not like the same as like with
family.
Foxen's character.
We could do family. You identify with your chosen family rather than your blood. What
Oh
does
yeah.
this person do that affirms that belief? This person is what every old guy would want, or sorry, this lady is what every old guy would want in a daughter. She is,
I
you
was
know,
like, just hit him sentence.
my brain did it dumb.
I'm
My
like,
my brain
okay.
did it dumb. We were just talking about. Sorry, I'm sorry.
So
That was
glad
the-
I'm what
Wow.
every old guy would want.
well, no. Like, I mean to say, like,
Phrasing.
okay, so I don't mean that is awkward. Yeah, okay. I guess I should have said it was a guy. But no, what I mean to say is like, okay, look, she is a soldier, a veteran who did everything she could to save everybody, right? Even
Yeah.
though no one believed her. She, like you, saw beyond the veil, where you did nothing as a child because you were powerless. She did something. She, like you, wanted to do something. And so for you, this is like a daughter to you, right? This is a person that like is also like you, like you know, well, not is also like you in the same regard that Elizabeth's character is, right? But
hmm
it feels like they are more disciplined and more willing
Yeah.
to accept the authority of the Candela Obscura due to their soldier nature. Does that make
hmm
sense? And does that work for you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
That's perfect. I'm just gonna put
So we've got. Let's double check Jonah. You've got one with Kat. You've got one with Joseph. You've got one with Elizabeth, and you've got one with Foxen. Right? You're done, relationship wise. Now, Kat, you have one with Jonah. You have one with Joseph. You have one with Elizabeth.
I do not.
Okay, let's work there. So, Elizabeth, you're a journalist.
Yeah.
You've definitely
And you're
covered a lot of.
Is she a crime journalist? Is that what it was?
Yep.
Or is
Yeah,
it
mostly
okay?
crime.
Okay.
Because it's probably what she's able to sell to papers.
Okay. I didn't know if you would be like a war journalist as well, like if you were in any way involved in that. Since it's soldier.
It was like 3 years ago.
Yeah, it's or four, kind of about that. What
3 or
I would
4.
I feel like if she had been involved in it, she probably would have seen what we'd seen if
Yeah.
we had any connection to her from
Mhm.
there.
I think the connection is going to be after induction, right? And so it's going to
Yeah.
be similarly kind of like a more recent connection. Temporally, let's discuss that. So Jonah's been here, or sorry, Nicholas has been here for decades. Okay,
Since the
Mhm.
dawn of time.
four
Forever.
4 years ago,
Forever.
Catherine and Javier were inducted. All right,
Mhm.
maybe about 3 years ago, um, Alan was inducted, right? And then
Mhm.
I'd say maybe at most 2 years, but probably closer to 1 year is when Pearl was inducted. Is that a
Yeah.
good timeline? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
So you don't know Pearl deeply, but you could have established a very quick kind of connection with her. It could be as banal as like coworker, right? It
Mm.
could just be someone who you work alongside, and that's fine. Um, it could also be more meta interesting. It could be the case that Catherine champions
Mm.
Elizabeth's character
That's what I was
Pearl
just looking at.
from Jonah's character Nicholas. So like
Mhm.
Catherine tempers Nicholas's like reactions to Pearl, and so you've got the bully aspect, and he's just trying to like set you straight, right, and make sure you're
Mhm.
doing Candela Obscura shit secretly, but then you know Catherine's like we were all like is the one kind of advocating.
Yeah.
So champion could be the case. So champion would be your direction, Elizabeth. Is this person is protecting you from something?
Mhm.
The threat, albeit minor, is mainly just the kind of negative attention you get from the other members of the Candela Obscura due to the way you
Mhm.
kind of exhibit yourself, your newness.
And you could also use the speaking out on her behalf as
Yes,
well against someone who's, is uh my mentor like that, like kind of
absolutely. And then, Catherine, your
confidant.
directionality there, um, obviously, we have kind of a protective kind of clause there. You could say that Pearl, is your ward. Like you're protecting her, in a sense, from everything. Like just in the Candela Obscura, like you feel the need to protect them. They're new, their role is important. Like they're
Hmm.
present here. You could just be feeling the need to protect this individual because they're new. They're the new guy. Well, new gal.
New gal,
I keep doing it.
girl
My
power.
my brain. And it could be that simple. You like that? Is that
Yeah.
good? Okay.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty simple, but also like makes perfect sense.
Oh,
My character wants to protect people, and
okay.
she's the new kid on the block,
Okay.
so I like it.
Um,
I
and
like that
then
only the girls don't have last names.
Yeah, I know neither one of us picked a last name. I'm just like, come on now.
I'm surprised you don't all have middle names. And then Cat to Foxen. So this would be Catherine to um, Alan. I think having an interesting interplay between like the how you were brought up and how you came to be in the Candela Obscura, or how you came to be in the position to be put into it, is
Well, and I
interesting. Go ahead.
also don't think that I think I would probably vibe with him too because he's a criminal and I'm in the service. I mean, at least I'm used to the rowdy bunch kind of people and everything.
Absolutely.
So,
I'm looking for a positive here as well, like nothing too kind of crazy. But what I'm thinking is it could be the case that you're both from the same part of town.
oh
So
yeah.
it could be the case that you, to escape poverty, joined the military, and him
And
to
didn't
Very
turn to
escape.
common.
crime like he
Yeah,
did. Okay.
Very
yeah.
common.
So it could be the case
Hey,
that you're old
you
friends.
go throw yourself into the meat grinder of war. I haven't part of it.
Fuck that. It could be the case that you grew up together.
Yeah.
If that's something you want to do.
That's easy. That's easy enough
Yep.
anyway.
And I think that's kind of directionally going to go both ways, right? Unless you're going to look at one another differently. Like you're not concerned about the old connections. For Catherine to Alan, it's like, whoa, hey, I remember you kind of situation. Whereas Alan, maybe you see Catherine a little bit differently. It did sound like you kind of had an animosity there. Like, I didn't fucking join the meat grinder. You kind of stated it there. But again, it could also just be old friend, you know, with a different question. Um, like maybe it was the case that there was a third member of your friendship that died in the war. Maybe it's the case that you come from the same home or background, and that's kind of like the drive there.
Maybe I tried to join the army, but I was kicked
Ooh.
out
Yeah, so
Ooh.
because a third person died in an accident.
yeah, it could be the case. It also could be like you see them as a rival because they joined the military, you tried and could not. So Catherine sees Alan as an old friend, but Alan sees Catherine as a rival because she's better than you. I mean, let's just be honest.
Hey, I remember you. Well,
Question 4. Your rival is much better at a particular skill than you are.
Fighting.
What is it? Strike. The action
She
strike.
fucking kicked
The
my
action
ass.
strike. Does that work for you? Or do you want to go with just both old friending?
Double bolt friending, I guess.
Okay, double old friends. We love to see it. So we've got one for everybody for Catherine. Okay. Joseph, let's go with Javier. We've got one for Nicholas. We've got
I'm
one
just missing
for
Pearl.
Pearl is the only one we got left. Okay.
It's me.
So
And
new.
I still need one for Pearl.
Okay, so it's just Elizabeth then. We're going to switch tack. We're going to say Elizabeth is our target.
Oh, God.
Center of attention for a second.
Help.
So Elizabeth, again, new to the show. You are kind of seeing everybody as you're seeing them. So we've got old guy who's the person with the most knowledge, kind of being very kind of bossy and bullying, but like you understand, but at the same time, fuck off.
It's annoying. Yeah.
Then you've got this soldier girl who is like very defensive of you and very protective of you, and you know your position therein. And then we got this doctor. Now, how do you think you relate to the doctor?
Then we got this doctor.
Just
Then
the doctor.
there's this
That's
guy.
it.
And there's this.
Fucking guy. Let's see.
Oh, that's another thing too. I haven't checked everybody's character pronouns, but I'll get to that eventually. I'm assuming a lot, so I won't. Obviously, I'm also messing them up too. I'm a fucking mess over here. I'm so sorry. The soldiers have got to be a guy because my brain's filled with stupid. So sorry.
Misogyny. No, wait.
Continue. I got canceled. I told you it was gonna happen before the game.
Fucking knew it. I feel like she would.
Only 2 people watching this stream.
Yeah, I know.
One
I'm
of
one
them's
of them.
me.
It's just the 2 of us, and we're in it.
Hey.
I appreciate it. But it's
Hold
not
on, I
terrible,
got you.
Oh, we gonna have 3.
All right.
It's number 3.
Oh shit.
Oh, now it's 1. What?
Oh,
Oh.
what?
Jonah is negative people.
Oh shit.
How did we lose 1?
I don't know.
I don't know.
It's weird.
You got canceled. That's what happened.
You called it.
Shadow band.
I feel
But-
like it wouldn't be like definitely wouldn't be negative. I
No.
don't feel like she like unless they're like attacking her and bullying her, she wouldn't
I
have
think
like a negative opinion
coworker
on anyone.
more so than anybody else kind of fits best here, right?
Yeah.
So you oh, this is more like you work with
This
them
is-
in Beyond
yeah,
the Candela.
I don't
Okay.
like that.
That's not the good. I thought it was like
No.
work together in the Candela Obscura. That's not the ticket. Maybe you two are related.
It's
Well,
cousins.
Cousins?
cousins could be.
You're
Third
it's-
cousins? Twice
and a
removed?
strange doesn't. I'm just kidding.
That's hmm.
I was gonna say, like it could have been old friend. Maybe
As
when
well.
I was going like becoming a doctor, sneaking away to like get like information about the goings on of the area and stuff because all I could do was learn, and I wanted to be outside. I wanted to, so like maybe she was my go-to person for that. But I don't know if that would be growing up together, but like be close to, I guess. I don't know. Or
Maybe y'all were undergrads together, and then you went off to medical school.
Yeah.
Oh,
Or
I
like,
don't know what
or
he's
maybe I
talking
like seen
about.
the person change over the years. I mean, like, would have been both ways on that. I mean, like, but before she saw the thing that made her really inquisitive about everything, I saw her. I was like, knew her then, and then through the development.
So let's look at that temporally. So Elizabeth, how old is Pearl?
I was thinking like early 20s.
Okay. So this will kind
Like
of
she's
create.
trying to find her foot into the
That put us at the same age.
Well,
So
it kind of puts us at a
oh.
little bit of a different age, and here's why. So let's say she's 24, right? Low early 20s or high early 20s. So 4 years ago, which is, you know, your event. About 3 years ago. No, we said four. About 4 years ago was your event. You joined the Candela Obscura, so she would have been 20. Okay, you were in the military for at least a year. Is that fair to say? So she would be 19.
mhm.
How old is your character when they induct or join the military? Keeping in mind you're a doctor, so higher education was
Well, the
something that
war
you.
was 3 years ago. How did I get inducted 4 years ago?
So yeah, you would have gotten inducted in. The war wasn't like a temporally 1 second.
Yeah,
It
I
ended
know.
3 years ago. You left it before it ended. Make
Yeah,
sense?
yeah. I mean,
That was through the whole time.
The war, all of it happened all at once. 3 years. It's a time
Snap.
war.
oh Lord, not that doctor.
Doctor Who.
Not that
Oh,
doctor.
Mo.
Doctor Who.
Exactly.
I was gonna say like mid 20s, so like around that age is how I would be now.
So
But
that's good.
I don't know.
So that gives us an idea. So, but again, if you're mid 20s, we're probably looking at the
Well,
higher end, right? 'Cause
okay,
doctor.
so wait. So there is an option that there was a third friend. Maybe we just had like mutual friends in like grade school
Or was it? Is that that dreaded
or
relationship
something.
where the
Because
person
it says
your mutual
there
friend leaves and now you two are together? Like,
there's once a third person in your friendship. What happened to them?
Or
Like maybe there was like, because like back in those days, it generally was like a one class, like everyone was like in the same class no matter like what grade you were
looking at it in a kind of temporal
till a
sense,
certain point.
like obviously you're a person who is a journalist, right? And
Yeah.
your character probably at a specific age kind of decided that was the task that they wanted to engage in. Looking at life as we understand it, like there's not always going to be a journalism job that just throws itself out to a very young individual like your
Yeah.
character. So you're probably like forced to work jobs that may or may not be kind of your goal, your desired dream job, but those jobs might fall in line with somebody who's interning at a hospital and getting their wings, like doing like doctor shit. So it could be the case that you two are coworkers in the past. You've already met each other in that sense, but instead of it being kind of another kind of old friend link up, we have a situation where you two have worked together in the past in
So
a
like
hospital.
while he was doing his like studies and doing like the interning stuff, she was like taking like the scalpels away and cleaning
Well, not
them.
so much. She doesn't have to
Or even
be.
something like that.
She wouldn't even had to have been like a nurse's assistant or anything like that. She could have been like a clerk. She could have been a person who was like billing. She could have been a person who was like making sure that the paperwork was being handled, which falls more in line with kind of like a journalist mentality in my mind.
Hmm.
And that means that like you would have been coworkers and had to have like interacted with each other because he is the one who hands you what needs to be billed when he's working as kind of a doctor's assistant in his intern like status. So
Hmm.
he wasn't technically a worker, he was actually a student, but he was working because that's how that works.
Yeah.
And so I think that's
Wouldn't
good.
have been nowhere.
Can I throw in
For
a dumb
knowledge.
idea?
You both find, and so you're kind of
A what?
A dumb idea. Can I throw one in there?
go ahead.
What if the picture that Pearl took of the individual with like the entity behind them was Catherine and her entity following her around?
Yeah,
What would the connection be
creepy.
there?
So, during this internship, this is like a year after the war, right?
Well,
Oh,
Catherine and I would have been together then, but I don't know how that would build up a relationship with Elizabeth and I though.
yeah, yeah. No,
Yeah.
so temporally you
Never
got
mind.
it kind of awkward. So Catherine fights the thing 4 years ago. 3 years
Gotcha.
ago, Fox in time. 2 to 1. We're leaning more towards 1, right, Elizabeth?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
She takes the
Gotcha,
picture
gotcha.
of the thing. It may very well be the same thing, but the picture's not going to prove that.
Hmm.
Like we
Yeah.
discussed
It's like a
before.
Sure,
it's
sure,
like
sure,
a
sure.
This
thumbprint
blur is the same
smudge.
blur I fought years ago. Where are you?
So, from what I understand too, the Candela Obscura doesn't like room and board you. As I'm looking at some of these questions and seeing how they're worded, you still work, you still kind of do your own thing, but you're also a member of the secret society, and so they probably do give you some benefits. There are some perks to it, but it looks like there's still you doing things until you're kind of called to do a task. You're not always on for the Candela Obscura. So it could also be the case that um,
What?
yeah, I mean, like, so you're still living in the city. You're just, also a member of a secret society. I think the occultist is probably a little bit more kind of aligned with them, so probably more in it to win it. Um, but I'm assuming that the soldier still probably like drills, still like maintains active status, um, despite having disappeared for a short time that one
It's
night.
okay. Nicholas has a mansion because of philanthropy,
He has a
so it's okay.
mansion.
Probably. I don't know.
What?
You're just saying he has a mansion? What are you?
Yeah, he has a mansion.
Because of philanthropy. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Okay.
He stole it. He really stole it.
So maybe it's the case that, um, okay, you're still a journalist. That's
yeah.
still the case.
I feel like she would have been that even if like they had full time employed her.
And you're still a doctor. That's still the case. So you still work at like facilities. Um, I don't know. Like I guess old friend is fine.
Yeah. Well, like what
Could
I
also
was
be
saying
related.
with
But again, that's up to you.
I think old friend would work because like relatively same age, just because she's in journalism, I'm sure she's from like a higher-ish class background. Poor people can't afford to just like, unfortunately like follow their dream job of like
For
being a
sure.
struggling journalist. Um so she probably has some support from home, so they might have had mutual friends within like grade school or something.
Gotcha.
And
Okay.
just like in the same circle, not necessarily like besties.
And is that going to be both ways? So we have like kind of
Yeah,
that
we can do it
interaction.
that way.
Okay. And then that leaves the last connection between Foxen and Elizabeth's characters. So taking everything we've got into account, I think that this is going to be kind of a situation where um, I don't see why Alan would be negative towards Pearl. I actually think that like
He's a criminal. She's a crime journalist.
Right.
Probably gets the scoop a lot.
Yeah. So, have you heard any good scoop lately, Alan?
Well,
Oh yeah.
I think more or less
Connor. Connor, that little asshole.
as a criminal, like
Just so you know.
obviously something that sits in the back of his head, probably day to day, is that you know he's kind of doing bad stuff, right? And has done bad stuff, but you're documenting bad stuff and uncovering even badder stuff, right?
Mhm.
So I think that from Alan's point of view, that's kind of like inspiring. It's like a criminal who watches true crime, right? So like your kind of like nuance on how you kind of like elucidate the stories, how you kind of document the stories, is like a muse to him. Thoughts?
Like he's reading what I'm like writing out so that he can figure out how to get away with it next time.
Or to understand like how to just better himself, like just in that regard. So if this person has inspired you to change something specific about your life, what was that? How you do crime?
That's a
Fair
stretch.
I dig
It's
it.
She's a
I
really
dig
detailed
it.
writer over here. You see, he fucked up because he left his fingerprint on this glass.
They
Don't
didn't
He's
even
over here
have
reading this going,
fingerprints
"Damn
yet.
it."
It's like, don't
They
leave
didn't even
hair
do
at the crime
fingerprinting
scene.
yet.
Oh yeah, that's right. There's no fingerprint.
Or
They didn't have hair.
it could be the case that you want to do a big crime one day. Like you're looking for something that you
She's
feel
writing
is
about
value.
the big jewel heist. I'm like, I want to do that one
What
day.
about this person drives you to pursue your dream? I hope that one day I'll be written about.
I'll be
girls.
written about one day.
There you go.
I'm gonna be asking her this entire session. Hey, you go. What are you gonna write
We
my
could
story?
we can go a different direction though. I just think that
She probably like really like glosses them up though too.
see, and that makes it good. And also
Yeah.
you can look at the directionality from you to him, it being kind of like keyed as well. Now, the reason why I chose Muse is I'm looking at the other options. I'm just trying to kind of, and I was doing that with Sibling when we were talking about the last one. I'm just trying to look at the other options and see if they're things. Obviously, we get into weirder territory when I say soulmate, when I say lover, right? These are ones that are kind of hard to kind of engage in. It's a bit of an awkward territory. But I think Muse is something we can kind of play with where it's not like you're fascinated with them in a sexual or romantic
Yeah.
sense. You're fascinated with them in a what they do is fascinating to you and you want to be a part of it in some way. Like that's where my brain sits with that. Or
Yeah.
you know, we can go to the other ones that we've already kind of covered ground.
Did I hear the Little Mermaid? Part
The
of your
Little
world?
Mermaid is one of the ones on there. Yeah. And so I think that would be interesting. What about you, Fox? And do you like it or no? If you don't like it, say no.
Muse will work.
Muse will work. Okay. And so I think like the main thing is like you are in kind of enamored by them in a sense that you are. It's amazing how well she picks up on this shit. I mean, like if she just flipped it, she could be an awesome criminal, right? So like for you, it's like, you know, you see this as like a person who's inspired you to kind of like do better at like these kind of activities. But of course, she obviously won't have the same like skill set to do a crimes. But for you in character narratively, like her ability to pick up on all this shit is like, whoa. And then
Well, that could be number 6 on Muse. Then this person feels an obsession of yours to find dangers. But I'll show her. I'll give her the biggest story.
So you're saying that she would see Muse you as well? Is that what you're saying?
Maybe. Yeah.
So then,
I can
that's
see that. Yeah.
that's interesting because then like you know about them, or about
I read her tabloids all the time.
you know that he took something that according to the Candela Obscura, like when touched, should have killed him, right? Should have just obliterated him. And so for you, it's like, holy shit, that's kind of scary, right?
Yeah. I wish I would have written about that.
Right. But obviously, like
What a great story.
after being told
Yeah.
just the minor details that were kind of forwarded in it, you're like, that's really skillful, right? So like
Yeah.
you're really focused on like that kind of high level of crime, that high crime kind of territory that him as a burglar, this high tier burglar presents. And like it's stuff that you assumed was happening because rich people are missing shit all the time, but you didn't think was happening with this kind of attention to like everything. And so like I think you're kind of seeing each other in the same way. Like you're seeing her as being able to pick up on all the shit that you're putting down. Like she's reading the book that you're writing, and then alternatively, she's like very interested in the kind of actual play that's happening here from the criminal. I like that. And I think that covers everybody, right?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So we got about 5 minutes, and I think we need to come up with a circle.
Yeah.
Is it circle time? It's circle time.
It's circle.
Circles round it out.
Circle. And if we need to, we can cover this either on the side or we can cover it at the start of next session.
It's under creating your circle. Yeah.
Yeah.
Answer
There are
circle
circle
question.
abilities.
Yeah. Circle mechanics.
That's great.
I'm going to just type the word circle. The mechanics. Circle mechanics. Free basic rules. It's doing it again.
Do creating your circle.
Creating.
Yeah.
No matching results. It's doing it.
Name your circle.
It says step 1 is
Yeah.
Answer
answer
circle
circle questions.
That's
Yeah.
right.
And then there's a D6 of questions.
All right, so I roll d6.
I hate.
Okay, I'll do it myself.
Yeah, it's
So the
gone back
first
to
one.
just.
Two.
It's just it, so it's gone back to just free rules. I don't
Oh,
like the
geez.
interplay between yeah, because I got the start guide downloaded. You folks don't, so unless you did, and just apparently
I'm still going through the compendium.
yeah, I'm going through the compendium as well, and
That's
like
It says
Oh.
step 1.
the problem is that it keeps on being a jerk.
Somebody share their screen.
Yeah, hold
Go
on.
to Discord.
I can. I could do. Oh no, we're not on Discord. Shit.
I feel like Zoom has that functionality
Oh
as
yeah,
well.
It does. You can. It absolutely does.
Host disabled participant screen share.
Why?
Well, it no longer does.
Nope.
Yeah, so
We have the technology, okay?
hold on. I'll show you what I'm talking about. So I clicked on Candela Obscura, right, under the compendium.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is there no like core rulebook?
And you have access to the book in your compendium, right? You didn't buy it?
Yeah.
Okay, because I
Correct.
bought
No,
it,
I
right?
I bought it.
Yeah.
You gave it to us. You
Yeah.
lost it yourself.
I am looking at the Candela Obscura.
This is what is
Okay.
currently in my. When I click on the Candela Obscura option in
Oh,
the.
Jesus.
It's just the free
Oh.
rules.
Yeah, that's the rule. So if you
No,
scroll.
no, do you see where it says free
Oh,
rules?
wait.
It doesn't say Candela
You're
Obscura book.
right.
Yeah, I know. I'm having a very fun time over here
Weird.
with Roll20 and how they interact with everything. So yeah, it only has the
That's
specialties listed for the
goofy.
ones that you choose as the pre-gens. Criminal, explorer, magician, occultist, professor. Period. Nothing else. So I'm having a fun time. So somebody has the circle rules open, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
Do you want
great.
me to
Step
read
one.
them?
Go ahead and please, whoever wants to be the reader, read. I can't follow along.
Okay.
I'll have no
It's
part in this process.
answer circle questions. You have all the first one. I think we choose let's see. Choose one of the following questions or create your own to help determine some shared information about your circle. Optionally, you can roll a d6 and select the question from the results of your roll. Discuss the answer as a group and decide how it might affect your character.
Jonah shared it to Discord, by the way.
Oh, bless.
I got you.
Do we want to do the d6 or do we just want to
I think that can be fun. Go ahead and roll a d6. We kind of already have
Someone
like a.
did already.
Yeah.
Fox
I
and
rolled
did.
a 2. It sucks. So
You
what
all
I'll
share
roll.
a common
So-
goal that's
Sucks.
secret to the light keepers of Candela Obscura. What is it?
Defend the public.
Well, that's not a secret to the light keepers. They know that you're defending
Oh,
the
well,
public.
so-
That's their goal. You folks
Secret.
have a goal.
Oh,
that's,
we have a common goal.
it's a
also.
circle goal. It's like
Right.
amongst
Okay.
you and you alone.
Hmm.
If we don't
Okay.
like that, we can move to a different
Want to
option.
study them.
You want to?
I don't know if anybody else wants to study these horrors, but I want to study them.
I mean,
you-
that's kind of what I want to do too. I just want to figure out
And
if
document
it's
them.
the yeah, the
That makes sense
cause,
for Jonah's
the
character
end,
too. He
or
wants
the
to he wants to know
effect.
everything.
And I want to
True.
study them to see if
Yeah.
I can destroy them. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so then you folks are not as kind of keen on just protecting the people. You're also kind of interested in the knowledge, and so that's
Yeah.
something that the Candle Obscure kind of deals with, but not really. And obviously, your tasks are usually to like investigate, learn, but also do what you can to protect. You're willing to kind of see protect to get info. Like if it came down to protect some folks and maybe draw it out so that you can capture it, you'll probably go for B. Is that fair?
Mhm.
Okay, great. Step 2. And I'm going to rush this a little bit. So step 2.
Oh, you're good. You're good. Sorry.
Okay.
Name your circle.
Yes.
What is the name of your group?
Naming something is very powerful. You may imbue something with intent or recognition. You could even transform something you fear into something you love with the right name. When you choose your circle's name, you should consider how your team feels about their place within Candela Obscura, or how Candela Obscura as a whole governs their circles. There's the thing in there.
Just a name.
The name might serve as an invitation, an oath, or a shackle.
It's typically the circle of X.
The circle of squares.
The circle of squares. I read that too. That's great.
All these squares make a circle.
Um, Listen, I
jeez.
picked the name Catherine for my character. I probably shouldn't throw out any names.
Look, I clicked on the inspiration
s-
button earlier.
The
and
circle
that's-
of the bucket. Thanks, John. The square pulled bucket.
Well, we're interested in learning more about these.
What do we
Circle
call
of
it?
the Watchful Eye.
Mm, that sounds more like
Down.
protecting, though.
Yeah,
but
but
that
it's
is
a
like
double
we have a
entendre.
secret. Yeah, I was about to say we do
Yeah.
have a secret goal. The first goal is supposed to be protecting. Our secret goal is to learn, and so I like that.
I like Circle of the Watchful Eye too.
Okay.
What
Those
about you?
opposed?
You had opposition.
Chapter
If you-
house location.
if you want to
Motion
fight it, fight it.
carries.
What'd you say?
Do you want to fight?
I said those opposed.
Yeah, those and those.
Watchful Eye.
Nay.
Okay, and then your chapter house. Is it an empty office? Rundown bar? What are we looking at?
Rundown bar.
Okay, we love it.
I
Oh
like
my
it.
gosh.
I think we just use the example chapter house, the boot and saddle. Back rooms of rundown bar in South Soffit. There's a small but functional space for Candela Obscura members to meet.
Okay.
Okay,
What is it called again?
the boot and saddle.
And then assign resource points.
Cool. I need that next.
We're
Okay.
all in this
Look,
together.
two
Sorry.
circle abilities. Your circle has
So
abilities.
do
that
we
you're-
mark down circle abilities, or do
So
you?
you should be able to switch between your character sheet and a circle page, which is on your sheet.
Oh.
Circle line?
I see.
Oh.
I see what happened, you guys. I
Did you do a dumb?
realize what happened.
Did you do a dumb?
I don't want to talk about it.
I don't want to
It's
talk
okay.
about it. Okay.
I believe in you.
So I am not a player in this game. I'm not assigned as a player in this game. I am assigned as the GM. So
Yeah.
I don't get the sharing function when I am a player in the game. When I run the game, I have two windows open, one with player and one with GM. I opened the player one second. I refreshed the GM one. It refreshes to the last state you were in. So I was in double player mode.
Aww.
And it was saying you don't have access. I hope that's what's happening. So I'm now in it as a GM. Let's see what we got. Circle. Nope. God just hates me. Okay, cool. Okay, so then let's focus up. Choose circle abilities. Stamina training. During your circle creation, select one ability. Every time you advance, you'll choose another. Which one do we want to do first?
Oh.
I feel like Nobody Left Behind would be probably pretty good to start with.
I do like it. And this together is also pretty good. Those are the only two that I'm
Yeah.
like. Resource management's not bad.
Yeah.
I think those three are the ones that I'm kind of focused on. Stamina training could work. One last run doesn't make sense narratively.
One last run.
Which one? Let's go for a vote. Jonah, which one do you like?
I'm into Nobody Left Behind
Nobody
only
Left Behind.
because of my Discord name.
And Kat, that's you as well.
Yes, and that's my inner healer vibe going, oh, let's try to keep people alive.
Yeah, I like Nobody Left Behind.
Okay, that's a majority. Does anybody
So-
on the minority want to fight about it?
Nah.
So for question, we decided on 2, right?
Nobody left behind.
No,
No.
for
No,
the
so the
question.
circle question.
Oh yeah.
We decided on 2.
Correct. You all share a common goal that's secret to the light keepers of Candela Obscura. What is it? The goal is to study the horrors and the things that come from beyond the veil on your own, without kind of any without any clearing from the Lightkeepers.
Gotcha.
Okay, is that step 4? And do we have any other steps after that?
There was
Um,
the. Sorry, let me go back. It's
There's
slow.
assign resource points.
Yeah.
Okay. And how does that work?
I'm copying.
That's
As a
fine.
group, your circle has a number of pooled resources available that allows them to recover and train between assignments. Stitch, clear all marks for 1 PC, refresh, recoup all used drives and resistances for 1 PC. Train, take a d6 that may be used on any roll in the next assignment.
Something very interesting to note, if you look at your character sheets in the listing right now, you'll note that your name changed to Circle of the Watchful Eye. Can you switch back to your other character side, like in the sheet, to see if it changes back automatically, or if Roll20 is goofy?
I still haven't figured out how to get to
You
the.
have 3 Circles of the Watchful Eye.
How did y'all
Did
do
that?
it?
I
Where
switched
is it?
back. Did it work?
As did I.
How about now?
No, it did not.
I
What
still have no idea how to do that.
Very
Oh.
At
So if
your-
you go at the bottom, does it let you? It looks like it just has that option for me now too. It doesn't show Javier anymore on that.
Yeah, everybody.
Elizabeth, your
circle
sheet
or the
settings.
circle.
If you click on sheet settings and then switch to circle sheet, it brings you to the circle sheet, and then you can manage that.
Oh, there we
Yeah,
go. I
but
changed
where-
it.
And then
It's
switch
still
back to
showing.
PC.
I think what.
Oh.
Yeah, switch back to PC, and then if it doesn't change your name back, change your name. And what I'm gonna do is, I think.
If it doesn't change your name back, just close out, and then if you open it up again and switch, it'll switch it back.
I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new character. Jonah, since you're kind of in the making stuff nice and smooth, Circle of the Watchful Eye. All players, save changes. So there should be. Oh, you don't do this to me.
What the?
You should see a Circle of the Watchful Eye that's not in the character folder. Do you see that? It's like above the character folder.
No.
Refresh.
Oh, yep. I see yours. You're above the characters that you speak of.
That one's going to be the Circle of the Watchful Eye character sheet. So you should be able to just switch that to the circle page and just go off of that. That makes sense?
Okay. Circle.
Mine worked that time when I switched.
No, very weird.
Yeah.
Also, this character sheet looks very different if you full screen it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes,
I-
it does.
I did not do this until just now, and I was like, especially the circle sheet looked way different.
It was the boot and what again?
Boot and
Boot and
saddle.
saddle.
Boot and saddle.
Thank you.
And then assign resource points. So, as a group, your circle has a number of pooled resources available that allows them to recover and train between assignments. At circle creation, assign a number of resource points equal to 1 plus the number of circle members, 6. So, yeah, you'll just kind of put them in stitch, refresh, and train.
Oh.
And
It's
I
got
guess
its stuff together. Now, when I switch back and forth, it does switch. That's
what I'll
funny.
say is,
Ooh.
since this
Who's-
is this is the last step, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Who's our light keeper?
We didn't pick that.
Is
Uh-oh.
is a member of
No.
the group a light keeper, or is it NPC?
No. That's like our
It's like
Yeah.
handler. Yeah.
We will get to that at the beginning of next session. Just for now, just put them as John. That's fine.
Okay.
So
I didn't fucking see it go.
yeah, I unfortunately, due to me being locked out of everything, do not have the. Oh wait, no, here we go. I've got the read. Okay, so this is the hook for the adventure. Okay. I'm going to read a blurb, and that'll probably be it for the evening. So, here's me reading. A riot of sound radiates from the New Fair World exhibition. Where once these city streets were filled with the screaming of civilians, there is now the laughter of children. The echoing of gunfire has been replaced with a pop, pop, pop of roasting caramel corn. The explosions of enemy bombs are now the crackling of electrified inventions. Even 3 years after the war, it feels almost get out of here. In congruous to hear the wild noise of happiness. You carry with you, as all Halen citizens do, the weight of the last great war on this Memorial Day. In celebration of the military implementation of electricity, the incredible power that forced otherwhere to withdraw from the region, New Fair hosts an exhibition of advancement every year. Today, the district of Briar Green is a new world, transformed by colorful flags. Each street is lined with the stalls of a pop-up market, and children scurry among the crowds dressed in their finest. On display, there is row after row of inventions, the likes of which you've never seen. Come see the electromagnet elevator. Use radar technology to find your missing sheep, madam. Tired of buttoning your shirt for work every day, sir? Try the amazing zipper and get your morning back. Best of all, the entire district smells of cotton candy and caramel corn. When we finally make it through the cacophony into Briarbank College and its exhibition hall, the world seems to forget the rules by which it operates. Here, the bright sun is dimmed by a dust-filled darkness, and the outside noise is compacted into a weighty hush. The hall is filled with the whispering of industrial giants exchanging vast sums of money. The inventions in these rooms are titanic. The very air smolders with a static buzz. Electric screams silence the speakers with a regular staccato, sending the bravest eyes looking up to the lightning that dances across the ceiling. We wander in silence through the gallery, listening to the daring inventors, perched on bespoke stages, evangelizing their work. If you'll stand over here, sir. There now, don't be afraid. The X-ray machine will only show us your bones, nothing more. But you'll have to hand me the items in your pocket, sir. Thank you. I've always wanted a gold watch. There are flyers throughout the hall of a bright, almost iridescent green. In the dim light, the pages seem to glow, and in the electrified flashes, they nearly sparkle. We follow them, like a trail of breadcrumbs, to a massive crowd. High on the stage before us stands a beautiful woman, Vera Montgomery, swirling in a glowing green dress. She's a beam of light, incarnate as she parades before a massive sign, a word painted in the same eerie green hue. Undark. Over the gasps from the crowd, we cannot hear the voice of the man who stands with her, but it's clear that he's highlighting the features of the pigment. He gestures around the room as if to say, "You need no light, but the one we provide. In our Undark, you are the light." The crowd erupts in cheers, pulling the attention of the entire hall. In this cacophony, it takes a moment to hear the model's screams, but her cries grow louder and more piercing over the enthusiasm of onlookers and the crash of electricity. All at once, a hush blankets the hall. Gaping red sores open across the woman's skin, crawling from beneath the undark dress in deep fissures of pain. The model stops screaming, holding her hand up before the crowd. Within her hand, her bones glow green, the terrible mirroring of the X-rays on display only a few feet away. As we watch the bones within each finger fall disconnected towards her wrist until her flesh hangs like a glove, the cascade of disconnecting bone runs down her arm, then her spine, then her legs, until what was once a beautiful woman is a pooling mass of writhing flesh. In the end, there is nothing but a pile of red viscera and the most beautiful green dress the world has ever seen, living above the body like a promise. A glowing sign reads, Undark. And we will pick up from there with the first session next Friday. Thanks for watching, those that did, and we will see you then. Thank you for checking out. I think it was just all of us, but whatever. If someone does eventually watch this, then so much the better. It's mostly just for my notes anyways. Thanks. Have a good one.